Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. I want to welcome all of you to today's edition of the Afridamus Report. As you can see, I am dressed very wintry because I don't know what part of the world you're watching me from, but wherever I'm at right now, guys, it is freezing. It is freezing everywhere. It's been snowing for days. And, generally you would think this snow, you would pray that rain comes and washes this snow off. But that didn't happen. Instead, it turned into ice. I attempted to drive out there, but, it was too dangerous. And I've seen some people, I would say white people, I don't know what is it about white people. There's a danger. I think it thrills some of them, these people, I saw some of these people walking in the middle of the road. So I'm like, okay, I'm in my truck. The truck is sliding. Are these people tempting, drivers to hit them? Like, what is going on? So I decided, I said, today doesn't look like a day I should be out there. So I took my vehicle, parked it in my garage, and now I'm here to have conversation with all of you. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a conversation. This conversation doesn't seem to go away. This is this Pan-African conversation. Whether you that is watching me, whether you like it or not, this conversation is going to continue. And it's not always going to go the way you expect it to be. There is always going to be pushbacks. Oh, there's going to be people that are going to agree with these viewpoints. But here's the thing. There are people who have a script that is written. They have a fantasy. People, let me tell you right now, it is only us, blacks or African people. I would say Africans because, it was Africans who were colonized. It was Africans who were taken into slavery. Eventually they became the blacks, right? But it is Africans. So, like some, the white people, they came, in some of these territories and, they planted a flag, some European flag. And they told the chief to put an X there. But you see, because of the African mindset, I can see the Africans thinking, oh, these people are foolish. They think this is going to be their country, just a flag. They don't understand. In fact, these people mean business. These people are not joking. They don't understand that they've just met the devil, because the devil will make you sign an X and hold you to that X. Africans are going to sign that because they don't think, oh no, these people are not going to act on this. Big mistake. Big mistake. So even today, I see that pattern. Even the dealings with the Chinese, you know how these African leaders, they will go and take loans. These are loans. And then they would come back and tell the population this is a donation. And the population, they do not question it. You know why? Because the population, they believe in begging. They don't believe in Africa itself, because they see the natural resource. They don't even understand the value of this natural resource. So therefore, they believe that, okay, because you put your hand to a sky daddy and the blessings come. So when you tell those people that the Chinese just gave us, donation, they are going to believe it, instead of questioning, okay, why is the Chinese giving us free money? What is going on? Logically, these should not make sense in real world, because you see, I operate in the real world in a place called the United States of America. If you ever want to know what reality is, come to the United States of America. There's a part fantasy you could live in Africa. If you have fantasy, you can, in fact, live in fantasy in Africa and get away with it. But in the United States, you can get away with it up to a certain extent, which brings us to our first topic here. I came across a video, a great video. It's a Jamaican woman who put out this video, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, there's a strong message in this video. This woman kept it real. She explained, what most of you have heard struggle to explain to your people back home. In fact, she's speaking to Jamaicans, but if you are a Black immigrant of any sort, her message is to you too. So I'm going to play her video here and let you hear what she's saying, because people hear the American dream. They hear this, but they don't know what it takes to live the American dream. Think about the irony. You are an African person and you become indoctrinated to believe that you are going to achieve the American dream. And you would hear people say this. You will hear this. But I'm going to play this and for you guys to hear it before I get into the blacks, going from, saying, oh, we are all brothers and sisters, accept us, we are all Africans. But little did you know, the blacks have a plan. And this plan here, I'm going to play devil's advocate as usual and break it down to you. See, in a way, I understand why some of the blacks are requesting what they are requesting. But I am going to also tell the blacks how Africans are going to, react to this when the reality really seeps in. Because you see, Africans tend to give you it's like, okay, now player, you joking, right? So they would they will pretend like, no, it's a joke until it really kicks in. You see what I'm saying? But now we live in the 21st century. We can understand one another. You see, we can understand one another. So the conversation will be great. But before we get into that, we'll do the first topic because I want to tackle two topics here. So many people back home in Africa, all over the world, they want to come to the United States of America, you know, and even those of you that are familiar with this channel, those of you that are always here, you've heard me say the United States of America is the greatest country on this side of heaven. But some people will get upset, some will just agree, but nobody has ever asked me, what do you mean? How is that greatness achieved? Because it's funny, in Africa, as far as my experience has been and the people I know, the people I'm related to, the people I'm friends with, the people I know, none of these people have ever even asked me, how do you make money? Do you have a job? They've never asked me this. But you know what? They will ask me for money. I don't know. I don't understand if maybe they are pretending, right? Do you guys think it's possible they are pretending that, okay, no, because that you don't have a job? In fact, there's like this magical thing on the streets of America where you pick money. Maybe they don't want to bring up the conversation about what do you do for work. Then you start talking about your job. Then you start suggesting to them that instead of them asking you for money, they should also do the same thing. Do you think that's a possibility? Or they are truly, truly oblivious and believe that you are making this money without hard work? Because what could it possibly be? They are not asking, what do you do for work? What is that all about? You see, that's what I want to know. Unless they want to tell me that society do not believe in hard work. I believe in hard work, people. I truly, 100%, I believe in hard work. Because you see, if you want to change your condition, if you don't like where you live, you change it. If you don't like the type of food you eat, you change it. If you don't like the kind of car you drive, you change it. You see, if you want all these things, how do you get them? Now, you see, that's where the reality comes into play. So this lady is going to explain to the people back home who are fantasizing, dreaming, fantasizing about coming to America. I mean, for many, right? Yeah, you've bought into the fantasy. Maybe you had your uncle, your relative, some of your brothers, like, you used to probably nag them. And, many Africans, for some reason, they cannot explain the truth to the people back home. So this Jamaican woman, it seems like, is the same thing. It's the same issue all over, where the people, they are not interested in you telling them how this is done. They are not interested in wanting to hear how hard it is to, create this life that they see. Like they would want to be, like there are people that look at me, probably they want to be me. I don't think they understand what it takes to be me. They don't understand how much work is involved in being me. That's what the American dream is. A house with the picketed fence. That's what they see. But is this truly, I'm going to ask a real question here. I want you guys to give me the honest answer. Is the American dream created for Africans or blacks/blacks? Because you see, there are blacks here who are wealthy, but they are not happy in America. So sometimes that makes me question, no matter how rich the black person gets in America, there is a form of like class attached. Look at Kanye West, how he's been treated. They're like, oh, hold on. Hey, Negro, just because we wrote some numbers in your bank account, don't think you are the same as us. But you see, us immigrants, as far as I know, when I was coming to America, there's a reason why I came here. I have a why, and I'm still sticking to that why. Even though, along the way, the line got squiggly a little bit. It's like, have you ever heard of this theory, this story? Boy goes to school. When I say, humans, could be girl, but a boy have the ambition. You in school, high school, everybody's talking about how they are going to be so great. You have all these dreams and ambitions. But then life knocks you in the mouth. And this knocking could come in different forms. That girl, that high school chick you're smiling with, she can end up coming up pregnant. Now your troubles begin right then and there for some. Now you got a baby mama. Now you know, 9 out of 10 times in America, you break up with the baby mama. Then the baby mama takes you to child support, right? But you are only making minimum wage at your job. Now you're 22 years old. Now your dreams are slowly dying, you see? Because now that baby mama, she goes to the government and the government gives her food stamps. Do you know this story that I'm telling you here? This has killed many immigrants' dream. I'm telling you a real story here, a painful story. Not too many people can rise back from this story that I'm telling you here. I'm just painting you a scenario. Those of you that live in the West are the ones that can understand this story. So now you're 22 years old. You're making minimum wage. When you, at the time that you are supposed to have been graduating from the 13th grade, 14th grade, thinking about making that money, now that become your story. You've never known that. So 18 years, 52 months, do the math. Do the math, right? You add 18 to that. So, but many immigrants also, if they don't have that baby mama, they have a baggage back in your various countries where you come from. It doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you got that visa, you land in America, Britain, wherever. Now they expect everyone to rely on you. So like a day today in a freezing day earlier, I tried going to the store. Guys, it was very difficult. Very difficult. And in this ice, it doesn't matter if you drive a truck or whatever. Because you see, ice, your car, all you need is to stay home. But when I was out there, I saw this vehicle, right? And I saw the red lift, red light. I was like, oh, don't tell me some immigrant is out there working. So I get close and I look, the guy looked like, he's from East Africa, from the Horn. So that just tells you, if you look at it, this man is out there hustling to maintain that American dream. So people that want to come here, they don't understand what it really takes. They don't understand that there are people, they are putting in 16 hours. Some people have 2, 3 jobs where they're working, busting their behind 24/7. But this woman is going to tell you what plan to action you should take, and I'm also going to give you my 2 cents. Here we go. Let me play the copyright here. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let me play this Jamaican woman's video here, and then we'll talk about the main topic here at hand. So here we go.
This message is for everybody at Jamaica who have killed themselves to come a foreign. Foreign nice, you know, me not lie. Foreign nice. There's a lot of opportunities here, but one thing people not telling about foreign. And when time people do telling about foreign, and the things say them bad mind and they don't want to come here and the whole shebang. So let me tell you about foreign. There are opportunities in America. Me not lie about that, because things where we can attain in America in a small period of time probably will take somebody a lifetime in Jamaica to reach those same achievements, right? But with America, enough to understand that this is a plantation. The society was built off of the same formula that they use.
The woman is giving you the scoop that you need to hear. Yes, in America, America has opportunities. I tell people this all the time, and I put emphasis on it. But when I say this, how do you receive this message? How do you receive this message? Especially you try to translate to someone who doesn't even, they're not even trying to hear any concept of hard work to achieve things. So she's telling you, yes, there are opportunities in America. This is true. You can achieve things within a short period of time. You cannot compare, like, for example, what I can achieve in America within a short time. Someone in Gambia can work for ages. They wouldn't be able to achieve that. I get that. But how do you also achieve this in America? How much work do you have to put in? Let's hear this.
To maintain the plantations. So when you're coming at the workforce in America and then tell you about the American dream, and you did try to catch the American dream, which is the house with the white picket fence, the husband, the 2.5 kids, the good education and the big job, and all of these big cars and everything where you have to maintain. The catch is you're going to work till you're dead, till you're literally dead, turn over, resurrect, your soul come back in our new body and work again to pay off the American dream.
Guys, the woman is not lying. I like how she repeated that you are going to work till you're dead and your soul is going to come back into your body. And she's telling you facts. This is no joke. There are people working 3 jobs, 16 hours, back to back, hustling, non-stop. Because you see, you end up getting trapped. Many people don't get education on the American system. Yes, the opportunity is there. The development you're seeing. How do you think that is maintained? This started out as a plantation economy. So, do you think that system just disappeared? No, it is capitalist. But this time around, instead of putting people in chains, making them, feel less than, you create a system. It's called the American dream. In order to achieve that, you would have to take credit. So the moment you get yourself wrapped up in that credit system, guess what? You have to work to maintain that. So your dream, when you came, you're like, hey, I'm going to be in America in X years, make my money, go back to Africa and invest. Many people wish they could do it, but they cannot, because they have to maintain their American dream. So you that is coming, that wants to come to America, you better listen to what this woman is telling you. You are going to be working and working till you dead. Your soul is going to return back to your body again. When you wake up, it will be time for you to work again. She's right.
Okay? So me I tell you now, said American dream is a fraud. You can come get it if you want, but you are going to work till you're dead.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that
You have people who in their 50s, 60s right now are work double shift, 16 hours a day them are work. And then can sit down, then can go to the go sit down and chill and laugh with them bridging like how you do a Jamaica on the job. Then can show up late morning time, then can I go, then can have bad customer service, then can drink one beer pan them break. Then can do none of that. Them have to go to work and you literally walk. Some people only get one 30-minute break in an 8 hour. When you're supposed to get 2:15 and a 30. And when your 8 hour done, your boss come and tell you, say, yo, you have to stay, you're mandated to work another 8-hour shift. And because you have to pay for all of this American dream where you got trust from the bank, and you have all of these loans and debt, you have to stay there to work that other 8 hour, right? So run come a foreign if you don't want, but me are telling us, be prepared for the truth. And the truth is, you're not going to work till you're dead. And if you're not work till you're dead, you're not going almost dead. So
Guys, the woman is 100% correct. The people back there, they don't listen, but the woman is absolutely right. And she's going to give you plans on what you should be thinking about doing since you want to work this hard. Here we go.
Here I want to do. When you come a foreign, have a 10-year plan. You work hard. You get every money where you can get. You send your money back a yard. Me don't want to hear about how Jamaica violent. Me don't want to hear about that you buy a piece of land and you build one house and you put on one car down there and you cut.
So I've got about 5 bullet points.
So I was watching this from Franklin's video. He also had a great take on this. But the woman is absolutely correct. So you can have your plan. You come up, you implement your plan. But people have to stay away from this idea, thinking that you are going to be saving the people in Africa. You have to save yourself first. You have to save yourself first. Many of you are caught up in this trap where, you have grown adults who are not pulling their weight. You think, you are the one that is responsible for these individuals while you are putting in all these hours. You continue to work. When are you going to implement your plan? Your plan to exit, your plan to build your own businesses that you had in mind. But hey, the woman is telling you how it's done over here. You might be in denial about it, but at the end of the day, she is absolutely correct. Absolutely right. So now, I'm going to hop into a video here, another video. So this video is about Pan-Africanists as usual, because they want to follow in the footsteps of, Marcus Garvey. That's what many tell us, right? So first, you have some of them, they give us, different messages. They are like, oh, it is bad in the white man's land. They are running away from systemic racism, right? But I have a video here of a guy who he plays African constantly, because you see, it's so much easier to always play African. There's a difference between playing African and being an actual African. So that's why many Africans who always say, oh, they don't want to go back to Africa. Well, you look at it, even the blacks here, the blacks want to move to Africa. Some of these Pan-Africanists, they are playing, dress up. So this guy that we're about to listen to, he's one of those Pan-Africanists. He wants to follow in the footsteps of Marcus Garvey. But let's assess the difference between Marcus Garvey and this quote-unquote Pan-Africanists that want to follow Marcus Garvey's footsteps. Marcus Garvey had his own business. He even acquired a ship. He had a following. He had money. So we could say at least Marcus Garvey probably stand in a better position at that time to make this dream come true. Speaking of African, creating a black nation in Africa. Because at least you could say he's proven himself, in America. Mind you, Marcus Garvey came to America from Jamaica as an immigrant. At the time here in America, mind you, they were still, this is like in the 1920s. Some of you that talk about racism, you know nothing about racism. I'm talking about a time when, there were laws. It was legal to discriminate against black people. Like legally, it was accepted. Black people were getting lynched in America here during those days. So Marcus Garvey came here in America. He wasn't afraid to speak his agenda. He spoke about it, and very charismatic guy, and he gained popularity. But at the end of the day, eventually Marcus Garvey was, sentenced to prison for quote unquote mail fraud, and eventually deported back to Jamaica. You see, so eventually moved to England where he died. But you see, Marcus Garvey, you could, even if you disagree with Marcus Garvey, but he made the step, he made the move, not only in speech, and he also did not beg. He came up with a plan. He came up with his business plan. He started generating money, and you could clearly say Marcus Garvey was targeted. They had the FBI go after him openly. They went after him to stop him. But now we have a new kind, a new breed of Pan-Africans. We're going to put them against Marcus Garvey. Are these Marcus Garvey Pan-Africans, or these people are scammers, or these people just want free stuff? First, they said reparation. Remember, they said the white man was evil. Wasn't this the same people who were coming telling you how evil the white man was? You see, as if, yes, we don't agree that the white people that came in 1884, before that, after that, with their plan, as if we don't already know that those people are evil. We know this, okay? We all agree on this. This is why we, the Africans, at some point, prior to before I was born, some of the people, they said, look, we can't have these people around here. You see, these people are over here on our lands, imposing their will, trying to put their, step their foot on the black man's neck, right in nigger land. You see, this was going on. So there are Africans who fought the white man off. So now, when we speak of unity, because people like to talk about unity, how can we speak of unity when other people are speaking about having their own nation with their own laws, and these laws are going to be the laws they learned from the white man? You see, the same laws fought from the white man. But don't take it from me. I am going to allow this man, who I think he is a few centuries behind. I don't know what type of African he is playing, but he's got the costumes, you see, he's got the costumes and all that. So I'm going to let him speak to you and tell you what his ambition is. Because you see, it was Dinus interviewing him, right? Prince Dinus, search for Uhuru. And I think he asked the man very good questions. And oh, yes, and also Bekis Fusho Tashili, thank you for sending that to me as well. I watched it and it's very interesting. So I was like, okay, let me bring this here. Because you see, there are some of the blacks who claim, oh, we are not interested in Africa. And I see under this video, there were people who made comments, and someone wrote, how dare the blacks, request having their own nation in Africa, governing themselves, when we see exactly they can't even handle neighborhoods. And I think, being somebody that living in America, I think these are perfect questions. If we are going to talk about uniting, because you see there are people, when I come up and ask this question, they say, oh, you just want to create divide. You want to create separation. But who are the people now who are coming saying that we are brothers and sisters? But you see, brothers and sisters, we want to have our own nation. When you are seeing currently in Africa, we are trying to bring everyone together, right? And there are wars that are being fought currently over these same territorial situations. We have the land situation in South Africa that is still not settled, because the thing, the African and the white man the white man is like intertwined. The white man got the economy. They are like, hey, we ain't going nowhere. So you black man, you just got to go along with this. And you have to be the underclass in your own land. You look at Zimbabwe. Also, the viewer that sent me that email, I've been looking into Zimbabwe. You're absolutely correct about the sanctions that we, the people, we don't talk about this. How many people are talking about what they are doing to Zimbabwe? Where is the Pan-African unity for Zimbabwe? Do you guys know this sanction that they put on Zimbabwe? This was such a long time. I think I was a teenager when they first did this. But no one is talking about this. In fact, while this hard sanction was on Zimbabwe, the reason why they put the sanction on Zimbabwe, because they took the land from the white people and gave it to the black farmers. You see? But that's what happened. At the time, even Tariq Nasheed, he went to Zimbabwe, right? Do you think Tariq Nasheed, because at the time he was a Pan-African, because he's changed many times. When he went to Zimbabwe, instead of, finding out about the sanctions on Zimbabwe that's destroying Zimbabwe's economy, to find out okay, what is causing all these issues for this country? No, that's not what he was interested in. He wanted the Zimbabwean people to give him free land. How many people have we heard here request free land? So to me, most of these, Pan-Africans, quote unquote, hoteps, they're using these, titles to try to blackmail Africans to try to get free land. And some are even now talking about reparation, because you guys know reparation is getting popular, right? So, yeah. So it's very important that, I don't want people to get upset and say, oh, why is Dinas asking these questions? It's very important that he ask the question so that you know exactly this. You might see some of these guys, they are all dressed weird and stuff, pretending, oh, I'm an African. How many Africans do you guys know? I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone who dresses like that. Okay? Maybe every now and again you would see some village people who would wear the traditional dressing like that. But this man is playing dress up, and he's requesting their own land. He's doing the Pan-African Bible. I'm going to allow you guys to see for yourself. Here we go. Give me a moment. Here. So, guys, kick back and enjoy this. Because you see, the man, I think, bought a land. The moment few of them bought lands, now they want citizenship, like Juliet over there in the Gambia, my own country. She thinks now she needs citizenship. Look, I'm not opposed to her being a citizen, but you can't just come and give your demands. You got to follow the law, just like everyone else. But you want to use the black card? Oh, guys, hold on. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Before I start this, I want to remind you guys of my status here. Here we go. All right, so guys, that is my honorary black card status. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Here we go.
I think we have people over. I was speaking to myself.
Well, Doctor, thank you for allowing me to come to your home, your humble abode. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Challenges dealing with visa or whatever is the scapegoat, the Liberia scapegoat. So
I was going to bring that up.
Right. So Liberia is the scapegoat for everything. Now,
so you see, they're gonna bring up Liberia. Here's the thing: those black people there, that's colonization. Even though I know, Game Slayer, you're gonna come and try to argue with me, but nobody's using the Liberia scapegoat. You know, people are just speaking facts. People already are occupying these lands. These lands belong to people. So whose land are you going to take? That's what I want people to understand, where I'm going with this. But let's let him speak, if he's even factual.
the actual geopolitics which is behind Liberia, diamond cartels, the beer cartel, France, who for 1 year supported Charles Taylor, all these things. But what you get is a very simplified story of how the black people out of the U.S. getting along with the indigenous black people. And then that's just the thing. So that becomes the scapegoat of, oh, well, if the black people come from the diaspora, then they're going to act like they're better than others. So I actually gave a talk at that AAPC conference dealing with Haiti, Morocco, and the AU. Because Haiti applied to join the AU and were rejected, even though they are the reason why you can walk the streets in Africa now and not have to worry about getting kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
That is not true. That is not true, but we'll let him keep going.
Because when they whooped that British behind, that's what they said they have to stop the quote-unquote trade.
So this guy is speaking about things he knows nothing about. Haiti, the Haitian Revolution wasn't against the British. It was against the French. So he doesn't even know his history. So to me, this guy is not even serious. He's just playing a part. So I want you guys to please understand why these analyses are needed. The guy just glossed over it. You know, Haiti, that had absolutely nothing to do with the British. It was the French. And what does a group of enslaved people in Haiti freeing themselves have to do with Africans? You see how these people, they would always come and try to elevate their position over you that is in the continent. So a whole continent of people, just a few group of slaves in the northern hemisphere are responsible for you to be able to walk free. Those people fought for their own freedom. to be free, rightfully so. But what's that have to do with people thousands of miles away? How can a few million be greater than, hundreds of millions of the same kind of people? This doesn't make any sense.
Bringing people here. When Jamaica whipped that British behind, that's what they said they have to stop chattel enslavement altogether. So both of those are reactions to the British getting their butts whooped. So essentially, if not for Haiti whooping that British behind, we'd still be dealing with kidnapping, all these things that are going on here. Now, just to bring it forward, when we're looking at the Liberia case study, and that's what I dealt with in the presentation, was after dealing with that, and then Morocco, where they're still enslaving Black people, about over 200,000 Black people. And they use the word abid, which means both slave and Black interchangeably. So when they say slave, they mean Black. When they say Black, they mean slave. Boom, that's where they're coming from. And but they applied to join the African Union, and they were accepted with open arms, right? Because that's what all Africanism is about. Pan-Africanism means Black people regardless of location. This whole all African people conference means location regardless of whether you're African or you're invader or what. So Arab on top, white Arab on top, Black indigenous person on the bottom is what that whole situation is about. So at the end, I had to deal with that Liberia question.
Guys, please hit the like, get the likes up, please. So this guy is doing the whataboutism. I'll tell you, the debate, the argument pattern is not going to change just because the location changed. Just everything he's saying, babbling, replace the African part with white. The same person, the same groups of people, when they are arguing, trying to tell you about white supremacy, how racist white people are, the same talking point, just replace the person they are talking about. But it's the same talking point. It's not based in facts. Morocco is geographically located in Africa. It is a country. A country. You are an American from the United States of America. I get it. Like, okay, you can say you are African. Cool. You get African descendant, but that's just fantasy. Like, officially, you, like a Moroccan would be considered African than you. Do I agree with it? No, but that's what the official narrative will be. But then if you look at it, you use African interchangeably too. Because a Moroccan, if they say they are in Morocco, they cannot, they can say, okay, I'm not African, great, but you can't remove the country Morocco out of Africa. You can't do that. But you sometimes, you can say you're Black American. We've seen that time and time again. You say you're Black American when it's convenient, and then you use the term African when that's convenient too. Which one is it?
Because I'm like, let's look at this thing. That Liberia is not separate from any other case of Black on Black violence, which according to Dr. Amos Wilson is Black self-annihilation in service of white domination. So if you look at the war in Eastern Congo, that's about resources, that's about coltan. So you have, rebel groups that are funded by this side. You have Halliburton in there. You have all these multinational corporations. So yeah, Black people who are fighting other Black people, but we're dealing with that as though that's different from anywhere else,
Right.
which is Liberia. It's about diamonds. So De Beers and all these diamond cartels are the ones who are behind financing all these things. So you see like a movie about Blood Diamond, but then don't put it in perspective that that's what's going on. You have in Rwanda Hutus and Tutsis. So where are the diasporans there, right?
Right.
So in that instance, again, that's at the border.
So, guys, you understand this guy's doing whataboutism. He doesn't even understand what the hell he's talking about. So he's saying, so the Hutus and Tutsis had, the Rwandan, genocide he's speaking of. He's like, where's the diaspora in there? You're not a Rwandan. Like, why would you want to be a part of that? This concept that just simply you're Black, all of a sudden gives you the rights to be in these places is not true. It would be nice if they open their arms, but like you're not entitled to be in these places, to be a part of them. This is the reality that many fails to realize. So he's saying just simply because the Hutus and the Tutsis went at it, so it was no black, diasporans were there. So therefore, they should have special treatment. He doesn't understand this is not white people you're talking to. Because in America, the white liberals have pretended like logic doesn't exist. And many of you, unfortunately, are getting used to that. You're using a tactic, and people are like, this is dumb. The white liberals might pretend like this makes sense, but this makes absolutely no sense. You're literally suggesting to a group of people to allow you to colonize them by them just handing it over to you. Like, you're not even willing to fight the land for the land. The people you're mentioning, these people are at war. Oh, they were at war. Are you willing to go to war for this said land you're speaking of? Because those people, the places you're mentioning, they are ready. They're willing to go to war. I don't need to tell you guys the number that came out of these places he speaks of. But you just want to use your lips and get the land and resource for free. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
Border going into Congo, so all those same geopolitics going on there. But then you had, so-called Tutsis thinking that they're better than Hutus. So where's the outcry? Oh, well, now we need to get rid of all Tutsis from the continent. No, that's not the discussion. But now that's the discussion of why we can't deal with diasporans on the level of citizenship, so forth and so on. So it becomes a scapegoat. If you look at southeastern Nigeria and all the unrest
Igbos,
there,
yeah.
right? Igbos, Efik, Ebibio, you name it, whatever's going on there with shell oil, all these different lands that are polluted, where the diasporans there. Your scapegoat isn't there, but you still have black people killing black people in service of white people so they can take the resources away. If you look at the unrest in the Maghreb, so northern Mali, you remember that whole crisis is there, where the diasporans there, they're nowhere to be found.
Right.
But what is to be found is nuclear interests of France. So that's what powers France is right there.
So you see, this guy is comparing himself, their group, to the Europeans. This is about following the Europeans wherever the Europeans go. So he's saying, so these people are there, they're fighting for resources, but they are not there. So what's that supposed to mean? Do you want to be in the position of the French or the British so you can control this? So this is truly delusion. This is truly delusion. And Game Jewel, you're absolutely right. Why is he acting like everything gets blamed on them? Nobody blames black people in Africa for any of this. So I don't know why he's even bringing that up. It's not, I don't know, African is blaming black diaspora for this or anything. But somehow, this guy is like one of those woke people where, like they would force you to, like they will come up with some ridiculous thing and try to force you to acknowledge it. So if you don't acknowledge it, they would say, oh, you're just a hater. You just hater because you disagree with me. They bait you into these conversations. They bait you into agreeing to dumb stuff, dumb conversations. So even if people don't talk about them, they would find a way to put themselves in the conversation. That's what he's doing here.
In northwestern Niger, right there across the border is magically what is really being fought over, but there are no diasporans there. So basically that the Liberia case isn't a separate case or different from any of these other cases. Of some cases you have black people fighting black people because one thinks that they're better than the other, or this or that or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's all ensuring the survival of white folks for their white interests to take black resources and then laugh all the way to the bank when we're fighting each other over these things. If you look at the so-called South Africa, where the diasporans there, they're nowhere to be found. And I could go down the list. You can look at Central African Republic, where the diasporans there, they're nowhere to be found. I can go down a list of 50 of these types of
guys. You know what's crazy? This guy really thinks he's saying something that makes sense. He's like that. What is it called? The leader of the Edos people, Tone Talks. One time I heard this dude say You know, they have, DACA over here. I can't go to Nigeria and claim DACA. So, like somehow their thinking process, they cannot process things outside of the American context. They think America's reality is like that everywhere. DACA. DACA is for the Hispanics, quote unquote, dreamers, people, crossing the border, to create a path for them to have citizenship. Why would Nigeria have that? But he looks at Nigeria like the United States. He's like, oh, I can't go to Nigeria and have, go to the university for free. You're from America. If you want to move to Nigeria for university, more power to you. More power to you. So it's like you have people who come in front of you who literally argue against their own self just to look relevant. Like, do you understand how much advantage you have over the place you are arguing about? This makes no sense. Why would anybody, born and raised in America, would even make that argument about the DACA thing? That's for those illegal people. You were born here. You don't need that. You want to go to Nigeria and claim DACA? Go there. He's like, oh, I can't go do it. Of course not, because they do not have DACA. People are not trying to cross over left and right into Nigeria. In fact, they're trying to leave, some of them. So if you want to go over there, hey, go right ahead. I'm pretty sure they would welcome you. Just make sure you take some money with you while you're at it.
The conflict, and there are no diasporans there, but somehow magically Liberia becomes the scapegoat. So we have to disenfranchise those who were enslaved because of, look at what happened in Liberia. And if the diasporans come in their numbers, then we'll have another Liberia here, so forth and so on. But it doesn't even make logical sense when we have all these other cases that are the exact same about the resources in the ground and pitting one black person against another black person so that they don't have to pay for those resources. So there are no tank factories, there are no bazooka factories, there are no AK-47 factories in the bush in Liberia. How's all that getting in there? Again, funding by the diamond cartels. And there's a good documentary I looked at this actually around the time the stuff was going on, a little bit later, called The Diamond Life by Guerrilla News Network, that really went into all the specific names of these cartels and their role.
So here's the thing. There's some of these quote unquote Pan-Africans, quote unquote, they have this obsession with Liberia, So it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna lay claim to Liberia, Oh, what about the people that are already in Liberia, the natives of Liberia, the actual people of, oh no, forget it. They don't exist. They don't exist. So this is wild. He's not making any sense. Liberia is no longer at war. They have not been at war in many years. So why is he even talking about Liberia? You do realize Liberia is a full sovereign country with its own president and its own laws. Why would you be focusing on Liberia? I mean, you can move to Liberia. Of course, you can do that. But this idea that you want to be in charge, because some of these people, they really believe they can be in charge in Africa. They are saying it right in front of you.
And exacerbating conflicts where they already existed or creating conflicts where there were none previously. And you see it time and time again. So, to basically get to the heart of the whole Liberia question, it's just the exact same thing over and over again. But then it just becomes a way to disenfranchise those and not feel bad about it at the end of the day, because now we have a narrative that allows us to be fundamentally unjust.
So, is it fair? Because I get called decisive when I bring this up. Mm-hmm. If Black Americans were to come together and demand their own separate nation state in Africa, their own land to govern themselves, What are your thoughts on that? Is that something that we should fight for, or bring up, or just let it go and integrate into an African society? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So, guys, did you hear that question? Should African Americans, Black Americans, come together and demand to have their own nation in Africa? Did you guys hear this? Should they come together and demand this? So if they are demanding this, who will they be demanding this from? That would be the question. Who's going to approve it? And in which territory will be given for? I mean, there's wars. There's a lot of wars in Congo. Hey, if you guys are willing to take up your arms and go fight for territory, more power to you. There's war in Somalia. There's different factions in the Horn of Africa fighting. You guys more than willing, if you're willing to take up your arms and go join in and carve your space, there are many groups there who are fighting. Or in the Sahel, you have the Western Sahara, around Burkina, around Mali. There's wars currently being fought for those lands. If you guys are truly determined, I would say, hey, put your forces together, pick an area, one of those areas is not fully settled yet, go to war. Go to war for the land. But let's hear what the genius is going to tell us.
I don't think anyone who considers themselves to be American should be anywhere close to anything.
Okay.
So if you consider yourself to be American, to me, it means that you're very lost, right? As I was mentioning before, so if you're American, you wouldn't be catching all the hell that you're catching. I was quoting Malcolm X on that point before. And the whole point of convincing us that we should call ourselves Black Americans is to separate ourselves from other Black people. So essentially what needs to happen, in my view, is that all Black people need to come together on the basis of being Black in order to deal with our white enemies, period. If we have something called a Black American or an Afro-Brazilian or a Ghanaian or a Nigerian, or on a smaller level, a Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa, all of these things are just, how would I put it? They
Counterproductive.
They're not getting to the root of the problem, and rather they're exacerbating the problem and continuing the problem. The problem at the time of enslavement, picture this, and people would say, oh, picture if we all came together to fight these white folks, we'd have a different course of history. Africa would look totally different if we said, look, we're all Black. Let's stop trying to say, all right, the Dutch are my trading partners, the Danes are my trading partners, the British are my trading partners, blah, blah. Well, guess what? They didn't invite none of y'all Black behinds to the Berlin Conference, so that tells you what your trading partner does for you, right? They said at the Berlin Conference, we're all white.
So here goes again, they would talk about the tribal, people's identity, right? So if the slaves, the Africans they brought in slavery, they left, they were in tribes, right? So the white men changed their identity. Now they are Black. So you are coming back to Africans and, having issues with our real identity, which is our tribes. These are not just make-believe stuff. This is not just some Hollywood fantasy. This is a real deal. This real thing. We didn't just get up and say, you know what? Today I'm Indian. Today I'm Chinese. No, this is true lineage, bloodline. We have different languages, different food, different cultures. And this is not true, through what do they call it? Some of you try to come up and, oh no, these Africans are just tribalists. If I acknowledge who I am as a person, because the same people cry and say, oh, you people, these Africans always want to bring up their tribe, right? They like to say this. But then they would say the white man took away our tribe from us, our language. I think I sense jealousy there. There is a jealousy because, look, I can see how many would feel jealous, because that's why many they like to, what can you mock Africans with besides to say material things. Material can't be greater than, than who you are. You see? So when I hear these people try to criticize African tribes, to me, that's dangerous. That's disrespectful. You are coming to a group of people, but you want to insult their identity. Don't these people know this is the same issues in most, Africans had with European invaders? Because they wanted to change Africans. Like, no one is saying you have to become this. No one is forcing you. But why do you want to force that on the people? So, okay, if the Africans forget about tribe, let's say they forget about it. So, what language are you bringing? What type of culture are you bringing? Who gave you that language? Who gave you that culture? We want to know this. The slave master. We don't want to practice, the slave master's culture. If you tell the people this is the slave master's culture, they're not going to practice it. Why should they?
White people are coming together on the basis of we're all white, and we have a common policy for all of y'all black people. So what does that tell us? That tells us that if we're going to defend ourselves, then we need to defend ourselves on the basis of what we have in common. It would be like, okay, because someone punched me in my jaw, but because my right hand wasn't hit directly, I'm not going to fight back. Or they didn't step on my toe, so I'm not going to kick you or run away or do anything because my feet aren't the ones that are in danger. Once you understand this is all one black whole, one black body, then we will fight together as a black body on the basis of, look, we belong to one thing. But as long as there's something called there's a reason why of whatever American, because it subverts the idea of black. So at one point in time, not too long ago, and before, you have people who are enslaved. You have a place called Igbo Landing in South Carolina, so you have Igbos there. You have Akans there, you have Yoruba there, you have Fon there, you have God there, you have Wolof there, you have Congo there. You have all types of black people there, but they all go there and they come to realize, look.
I've seen some of you in the chat saying he speaks some of the languages. Great. I mean, that's good. Yeah, I mean, learning the language, that would help you, get to understand the people. But I've seen some, even like they would say this. People tell me, oh, that person speaks African language. They speak the, Wolof or Mandinka, like, languages from where I come from. Yeah, it's different when you tell another black person, oh, yeah, I speak this language, and you say few phrases. But when they come and speak to us, the real Africans who speak the language, that, few phrases and fluency are two different things. But maybe he's a different one. But the ones I've encountered, definitely just know few phrases. They do not speak the language. They just know, some words. That's not speaking it.
We come together on the basis of, look, we're all African. We're all Negroes. We're all black people. So on that basis, that's how we need to fight. That's how we need to move. That's how we need to organize. But that's not very helpful for white people because they will not survive if we do that. So they need to convince us to have an identity called something like Black American, a type of American. So once you accept that identity, well, now what does this type of American do? Because American, that's the noun. So this right-headed. So now black, this becomes an adjective.
All right. So I have callers here. Those of you that want to call, you can hit the link. The lines are open. I have Big Dog in the house and Based Fuller. So you guys have heard it, the question. They, obviously this is a conversation that we've been having, time and time again. So Big Dog and Based Fuller, these people are, they're hoping to have, if they should fight for their own nation in Africa and have their own country and their own laws. So I don't know who they're going to demand this from, who's going to approve it, and what territory. I want to hear what you guys, want to say about this.
Afadawa, thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for coming, big dog.
Thank you. Yeah, happy Christmas in advance.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're having a real Christmas here because it's freezing.
Yeah.
It's white everywhere.
That's good.
Yeah.
You see, I've been listening to these people. I was the AM panel because I'm free. I have a great. That's why I'm not even coming to your show because sometimes I'm sleeping. I have to go to work the next day.
Oh, okay, yes, because it's late where you are.
Yeah. So what I see sometimes with these people that are coming to Africa, sometimes I really wonder if it's really genuinely or they're coming with schizophrenic mind.
It's questionable.
Yeah, because their mind is they have a total different mind, or sometimes some of their mind is so fucked up, or some of them believe in total different things. I don't know the books they read because sometimes you read books, you believe it, but reality in Africa is different. You understand? We all come from.
But big dog, they are requesting to have their own nation.
They cannot. Look, they're not ready to fight.
You don't think Nigeria would have a place to give, and maybe like in Badagry? Yeah.
They don't have the mind of a fighter. You understand? They can talk all what they want to talk. They can say what they want to say. When you don't, they don't live. They don't believe in anything to live for and to die for. The Brazilians that came, that 80 something, they brought them in. They assimilate into the community, into the Oba of Lagos assimilate them in. You understand?
Right.
They didn't come and be forming their own place there. Yeah, well, they assimilate, but some of them still keep their Brazilian names. But some of the intermarriage started taking place there.
Right.
So they didn't come and find, let me have my own nation. No. And so they came with a good skills. So not in this modern time. I think they believe they can just come in because they can come and say this story. But this story, you can come into Africa. You have an advantage because you have the same skin color. But your mindset, because no African person will lead, look, just let me tell you the truth. I think some of them are crazy. Just the truth, some of them are crazy.
Yes, you would be absolutely correct because they say crazy stuff.
If they want to build anything, I think Sierra Leone is giving a passport like the way they give cookies out.
Yeah.
Okay. Which among them ever go to Sierra Leone back and say, okay, let me build a house there, let me start business there? None.
But
they will take the passport will be given to the that's just the end. That's just the end.
Or maybe they can go, there's land in Guinea-Bissau also.
They don't understand the land issue in Africa. Land is what you live for, you die for.
Right.
Yes, they don't understand. I think the way they see things is totally different. It's totally different. Those that are coming to Africa that are Pan-Africanists, some of them want passport, okay, they get it. Then you don't really know what is really going on.
But do you think this here? I've been thinking, and it's funny that Anthony Ali wrote this. Do you think this is karma for Africa? Like all they're crazy people they've sent many centuries ago, and now they're coming back for us payback?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like centuries ago, because Africa did send its people, do you think it's 100 like they are coming back, as karma?
Yeah,
because they only go to Gambia, Tanzania, and Kenya. I don't know. Like, what did we do?
They're coming back to some of the things they have the right. Which if you're African, they say you are right. But the problem is they don't know where they're coming from anymore.
Yeah,
you understand? And some of them they're so some of them don't even want you to believe that they are even Africans. So it's so even to us as Africans, if we want to absorb them in, it will also be very difficult because some of them will tell you they're not Africans. You understand? You get them telling you. So even those that are coming to Africans, they know that some of them they are Hebrew Israelites who think it's their birthright. You understand? The heaven is there. Like this guy that is wearing these dresses and this having beads in his neck. These are crazy people. You understand me? The other ones is just collecting papers everywhere and bringing people to collect the same
you know, like Big Dog. I don't know if you sometimes you guys have had this in Nigeria where some of the, you would see some of these guys, they would leave for abroad, but they would come back crazy. Like crazy. They will be chasing their dad and other people in the neighborhood. I think this is like, another karma.
It happened. It happened also because even with some of the, you can see that most of them that come from United States have a serious stress syndrome.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Like I said, right now it's freezing out there. It's icy. This here even is going to depress some people.
Yeah. So we notice when they come back, there's a big differences. Very big differences. Then these are evil Africans. You can see kind of like have exit route to live. How about those that don't have the exit route, like these Black Americans and others that are there that have this syndrome for a very long time? Is this mental health issue you see in them that bring it to Africans? But Africa doesn't have the mental institution to handle them. So that's why they don't walk around the street and believe in anything. Egypt, they believe in anything. Even when you date them, or you marry them, if you check well, you start seeing you dealing with a total different human being that is under your skin. You understand me? She might wake up one day said, "Oh, what the hell am I doing? I want to go back to Africa. I want to go back to United States." But you marry her as an African, so they don't really have they don't have what we call foundation of basement. You understand? They can wake up just the way they say they are Israel, they are Jewish or they are Indians. That's when the lady can wake up one morning and said, "Oh, I want to go back to United States."
Yeah.
He's married to an African person. He said he want to live in United States. So to them, everything is sellable, everything is movable. You understand me? To us, an African, it's not really like that. Me as a Nigerian cannot wake up one day and say I'm a Gambian.
Right.
Or I'm a Mexican. No. It does not go like that in Africa.
Right.
So you can see that the level Africa it's going to be a big problem for Africa in the long run. Not now, but in the long run, Africa will face these people as a very big problem.
You think so?
Yeah. It will be like what happened in Liberia. You see, what happened in Liberia is not in that form yet, but it's almost going to what happened in Liberia. What happened in Liberia is kind of like when they came in, they didn't respect the native they met there.
Yes.
And the native was like watching them for a very long time. And the native, when they started tapping into the resources of Liberia, without not including the natives, that's where the natives started pumping how to fight them for a very long time. That what happened. There were some of those come to power, some of those see them as piece of shit.
Yeah, that's true.
You understand? So they get weapons for their masters. They start unleashing on the natives. Then what happened? The native, this is what they don't have. The native said, "This is my land. I will die on this land. I will defend this land."
Yeah.
Then the native started gathering weapons and fought them back heavily. That what drove Chastelo finally out of Liberia. They start respecting the natives. It's not the natives did just fold their hand because they strike first. They strike the native first.
Yeah, this is true. When they first came, they did.
Yeah, but the native gathered themselves together and without no fear, start driving them away
because it's their land. It's their land.
That's why they don't have that. They don't have that. Sometimes when they see Africans, they think, "Oh, Africans are so quiet, they're so weak."
Yes.
Until you put your finger into their mouth, then you know that these people you're seeing, they can be as West Africans are naturally aggressive people. They are very, very aggressive. Their snakes are aggressive. their chimpanzees very aggressive. Their
Oh
dogs
yeah,
very
the hippos, even
The hippos-
the sheeps, the short African dwarf sheep, the ones that always headbutt each other.
yeah, they're very
See,
aggressive. What do you think the
when,
sheep?
when I was a kid, growing up, so during our Eid, when our parents buy the sheep, we would meet in the back in the field so that the sheep would fight.
So when they walk around, they just think, they can do this, they can do that, because they think this is not fantasy land. You understand? This not, Africa is not a fantasy, it's not a Disneyland. You can create fantasy out of your head. You understand? By
Yeah.
saying you
Also,
can do this.
Big Dog, good. Big Dog, let's allow
Yeah.
Best Fuller to Big Dog. I have questions for you because you missed out. You were saying something about the Hebrew Israelite. You missed out on that show. They are in Cameroon, and you were right. I would come back to you. Let's have Base Fuller. Base Fuller, they want their own land. Is Guinea-Bissau, is there a place available?
Hell no.
This is what I want to know. I want to
Hell
know.
no. Like, hell no. Here's the thing that I have to say about the whole situation. Okay. And this comes back to us. This comes back to our fault for getting into this situation. What makes them think that they can come over there and have their own land when we ourselves are not stable? There was like 4 military juntas
Right.
in 2022 alone. There were like 4 military juntas. From what I heard, there was another one that happened in the Gambia. Okay, or they
Well, people are questioning it that they think the president just came up with fake news so they can keep
okay.
Okemek
Okay.
because he doesn't trust the Gambian army around him. But that's no here or there.
That's neither here. But if we ourselves don't have infrastructure, right? Like the infrastructure needed to like basically be modern in the Western sense of like modernism. If we don't have that ourselves, and they obviously cannot bring that because they couldn't do it wherever they are from, be it be New York, be it be in California, wherever they're from. If they can't do it over there and they think that they can come and just like do it in a place that they have no knowledge about, that they don't know the climate about, that they don't know the coast customs and the culture. And from what I've seen, the thing is that I really want to bring home is a simple fact that and Miss Objective One, shut the hell up. You're a single Muslim convert woman. Like she's always like just trolling. Like
Who's that?
Miss Objective One. It's like shut up, woman.
Oh, Miss
Like,
Object.
it's like you're past the wall. Shut up.
Ignore the the comment
Like, shut up.
section. You know
Shut up.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, shut up, Bolejo.
So
Anyhow,
this idea.
but anyhow, what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that okay, these leaders that these leaders, right? Be it Thomas Sankara, be it Amilcar Cabral, be it Patrice Lumumba, be it everybody that they consider Pan-Africanists. I read into their books, they never once used that word Pan-Africanist. Their whole focus was developing their own country first and foremost. Okay. That was their first focus, was developing their own country first. Okay.
Right.
Another thing about this is I'm into things like this. I'll take another example. Even in the Caribbean, there's a small island named Grenada. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a small island by the name of Grenada. They had a revolution. His name was his name was like Maurice Bishop. That was his name. Okay. That guy even wanted to develop self-sufficiency, right? He wanted to like basically develop a country that was not backwardsness, didn't have like backyard syndrome, right? Here's the thing, right? Even him, he even got help from Libya to build
Right.
his airport. He
Mhm.
asked Gaddafi for a loan. He's like, hey, you know what? I'm trying to like get this airport going. I need a loan. Okay. So if leaders For example, if African leaders themselves have to broker deals with other leaders who are not even on the African continent, right? What makes these Belejo think that they can come over here and somehow change the guard around when themselves don't even have like any kind of infrastructure, any kind of diplomacy, or anything like that? Like, what makes them think they can do that? That's my
That's
question.
it. That's a good question.
Because another thing too, you need which one call it too, you need like a limited, I wouldn't say unlimited. Belejo just means like nigga, like what Miss Objective One is. Basically, that's what it means to the person in the audience. But anyhow, you need unlimited money in order to do something like that. You're gonna need like a IMF, or you're gonna need like a World Bank.
Right.
To
But
do
does this guy even understand? Does he understand he's an American citizen? Like he can't just come up and claim that he wants his own land, their own land in Africa.
Okay, you look at the situation. I'll take Haiti for example. Haiti. The thing is, even when you look at Haiti, the people, unfortunately, who are in Haiti right now, who are calling the shots, are really not even Haitians, and that's because, that is because,
well, Haiti might have won the battle, but they lost the war. And also in Liberia, what people don't understand is those blacks that went to Liberia, they were not American citizens. At the time, the blacks didn't become citizens in America until 1868.
Can you block
until
this Objective One?
1868.
Can you block this Objective One, because she thinks I'm obligated to have a.
Just ignore the.
Like, she's a single Muslim, like deadbeat, wall-ridden woman. I don't know why she cares. Like,
Just ignore her. Let's allow TR. Then we'll come back. TR, are you there?
One more thing I want to say about the whole situation.
Yeah,
You'll need a world bank in order to do something like that. Like, in order to come in and say, hey, we want to have our own country, we want to do something like that. You know what I mean? You're gonna need to have something in place like that. You're gonna have to have like even a drawn out constitution. You know, you're gonna have to have these things. Like, what? Like, how are you just gonna go there and say, okay, we want our own place, and then you're gonna be like, where do we start? Are you just gonna do that?
That's a good question. Good question. Let's allow TR. TR, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well.
Good.
Are you staying warm up there in Canada? Is it icy up there too?
Do you know that I just looked outside and there's a huge snowstorm happening? Storm. Yeah. So it's pretty bad outside right now. But yeah, it's
so Tia, what do you think about what the dressy guy was saying? Even the idea to have their own country in Africa and govern themselves. Because Dynasty is asking, should they demand to have their own country and govern themselves? What do you think?
That's a really good question. To be honest with you, I mean, if I just think off the top of my head, I would think that that's the way it would have to be, because if you spend your whole life in America, as opposed to spending your whole life in Africa, you have different mindsets. And I can't see like that if a lot of African Americans went to Africa to live, I can't see that, everybody would be on the same page. No, I think there would be some problems if you.
Well, it's already there.
Oh,
we hear problems even in small Gambia. I have a lot on my table to do some shows here, but we'll get to those. Oh yeah.
So one time I said to you that, you know, we all know and we all sympathize with the things that African Americans have been through. But I mentioned to you one time, you know, the fighting spirit that they have, you know, and then I know Africans aren't going to just sit there and take stuff too. So I really don't know how that would go. I really don't know how that would go. I hope it goes well, but I don't know.
No, they are going to ask the AU, African Union, to allocate the land.
Just for African Americans?
Yes.
Do I think that that's a good thing?
No, no. Do you think, how do you think the Africans would receive that? How would they receive it? Whose land is going to be given?
I personally, if I was an African and that was happening like where
Because
I
the AU doesn't own land anywhere. Let's make that clear. So who is it, like, who is this land going to be demanded from?
But is this
because this guy who talked about AU, I don't think they understand, like, they're giving AU so much power. The power they're giving AU doesn't have that. Or, you know, they do not have these powers. They are
But is it in the
toothless
works? Is
lions.
it in the works? Is this
No,
on paper? No.
no, he's just asking. So, you know, everything starts from the question.
Yes.
And then the answers start rolling in, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that's how it always goes.
Okay, but here's another thing, right? Like when African Americans travel to Africa, if we just travel there, let's say casually, you won't really know that we're not African. You can't tell.
Right.
So we could actually just
I
keep
mean,
going in slowly, which I think is what's probably going to happen, you know?
right. But
So,
you know, they'll assimilate, because you see
yeah.
there's so many of the women now, they are going there, they're marrying the African guys, some are dating them. So the women, they are assimilating well into the, wherever they are going, you see.
So do you think that Africa would
And the
become
men
more,
too, some of them.
do you think Africa would become more Americanized, or the African Americans would become
No,
more African?
not. Oh, that's a good question. See, I think there would be a balance. Actually, they would become more African depending on where they are. I think if it's Gambia, they would eventually become more African.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would become more African, because trust me, you cannot outdo that Mandinka or Wolof language. I can assure you that. There's no way to beat those languages, all right? You can try though. The white man tried, the Arab tried, but there's no way to stamp those languages out. You see, that's what the majority speaks. That's what we speak over there, and fuller. So but the ones I've seen many, like I've encountered the blacks over there, they seem to fit in just fine, to be honest. They seem to fit in, depending on who they are hanging out with. Some are into the partying thing, but and some are having dramas, because you see, they don't assess. When they don't assess things, they want to live this fantasy to just say, oh, we all black. Oh no, they don't have Pookies and Ray Rays over here. I've been seeing some facing this. So yeah, it's just plain dummy, to be honest. I've seen some that got scammed, whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of hoops to go through.
Yeah.
But they don't want to take the lessons from here.
Well, when you live it, you start taking the lessons, because there's fantasy and there's reality, and that's just the way it is.
I want to bring up a point.
Afridamus, is she a Black American or an African?
TR, you want to respond?
Black Canadian.
I want to bring up another point too.
Okay.
She's Black Canadian.
I want to bring up another point too.
So TR, do you want to go to Africa too?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on. What do you mean by Black? Is it Caribbean? Black?
Yes.
Yes. Is it? Are you a Caribbean?
Yes, by my parents. Yes.
Okay, by descendants. You're from. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, what I'm trying to say is this. Look, Africa culture is very thick. What happened was bad.
Mhm.
You know, it's not a good thing. It's not a good memory.
Mhm.
But the culture is very, very thick. Very, very thick. You can't really break it like that.
Mm.
The Arabs could not. The British could not.
Well,
So Tia, are you looking to assimilate when you go to Africa? I mean, like, you don't have to dress like that guy whatsoever, but
I don't think you can go and live in a place and not assimilate. I don't think so. I don't think you can not do it. You know,
so you'd be
Well-
Like you're-
surprised.
Wow.
no, you can't not be a part of them. You're gonna face backlash. You have to like move with the current. You have no choice. You have no choice.
I have another question though too, real
Mm.
quick. Another question I have is, who's going to be their leader? Like, how are they going to have
That's a good question.
Are they going to have
The-
like electoral? Are they going to practice Westminster democracy? Are they going to practice, like, what type of democracy are they going to have?
Maybe Dr. Umar would lead.
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
You're so
Maybe
funny.
so. Maybe so. Maybe
So
Dr.
so Big Dog.
Yeah.
Hold on, Big Dog. I'm happy you're here again because Big Dog. Last time I did a show, we found out because you brought up the Hebrew Israelites here before. We found out the Hebrew Israelites, they are in Nigeria and several other countries already in Africa. In parts of Nigeria and also Cameroon. They have a big group in Cameroon. I said, "Where's Big Dog? What can he say to this?" He was correct.
But Afridamus, I please somebody answer this for me. Please answer this for me. When an African American, because this is important, becomes an Israelite, what does that mean? Because you're now addressing them as, oh, when the Israelites do this. So what exactly is that? Can we define that, please?
Let Big Dog address it for you. Big Dog
Look,
knows them well. Go ahead, Big Dog.
These so-called West Africans are not Jewish. Not Jewish at all. West Africans are voodoo worshippers who worship trees.
Big Dog, I saw somebody who is a Nigerian in America. He's born here. I'm gonna bring that video too. He said he's an Igbo claiming to be, Jewish.
The
But
Igbo people are not. Igbo people worship trees. They worship big trees. You understand? I'm from. I know them. I know their culture. I know what they worship. I know their gods. Igbo people worship nature, trees. How can you that worship trees, mighty trees, and give that alcohol to those trees, right? Worship other things. That is their culture. The origin of Igbo people, they are voodoo worshippers who worship irons and the trees, big trees. You understand me? Why they say the Igbo people are like the Jewish people? Because the Igbo people are like wanderers. They do business everywhere. You understand? And who teach them the business? Igbo nature are farmers. They are farmers naturally. You understand me?
Yeah.
The farmers also do that iron metal thing to cut the grass.
Right.
When the British came, is the missionary that teach them business, because the Igbo people naturally they were not aggressive. They don't even have a king. They have what called Edal.
So they have one of that society where, like, because there's some of these societies who, like, they create where everybody is equal. They don't have a king. They just walk.
Yeah,
the people they call the pygmies in the.
Yeah, the Igbo have such a system. They don't have a king, but they have what called Republican. But they have some kind of senior men, elderly men who
that's in charge.
In charge. They all take decision to get to the right point and give that decision to their god. All those called Ikega and all those gods they have there. You understand me? The Igbo people, through these wanderers and doing business, they become delusional. Some of them now say, "Oh, we are Jewish," because some religions were just coming in. They forget the Kali Church that came in there to convert them and everything. China Chebe would have tell you they are Jewish people. China Chebe said, the Igbos they were the heavy slave traders even in that territory. The Igbos, they were selling themselves heavily.
Let me read this here. thank you, John Azola. John Azola for the super chat. He said, the Bantu Israelites look towards Congo as the very promised land. They venerate Kimpa Vita, Simon Kimbangu, and Simon Toko, Congolese prophets. Oh, John Azola, I don't know if you're speaking about this. There was a guy, this Congolese, they call him the Congolese prophet guy, that they killed him and cut him into pieces. I don't know if that's the guy you were talking about. But thank you for the super chat. Let me thank you here properly, John Azola.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see-through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you.
All right, thank you, John Azola. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
So if you check the West Africans, the religion they've been serving for thousands of years is what they still serving to today, even when Christianity and Muslim find their way into them. West African people who say they are Muslim, they still go back to consult with their Babalawo and their native daughters and still carry out all these things. So the Igbos are like that also. So all these ones that call themselves, what they call themselves, or
Big Dog, what do you make of? They have the Hebrew Israelites, they have their group now in Cameroon. Some of these Cameroonians have become Hebrew Israelites. What is going on with these Cameroonians?
They're not anything, rather they like the dressing.
You think the Cameroonians just like the dressing?
Yes, they like the dressing and they want to be a little bit different. They like to wear those bangles and those gams because they cannot be like the Reverend Father. So they like to something different. So they don't really believe in anything. If you really put them, they say, what kind of religion are you serving?
You know, Big Dog, they have some Nigerians now who are Hebrew Israelites.
Those are
are you surprised?
Yes, because those ones also they don't even look. They call themselves, just few group of people call themselves, oh, I'm Jewish. Well, they're not even Jewish. Go back to their village.
That's what I'm asking.
Go back to their village. Go back to their look. In Africa, you cannot survive in Africa if you not belong to a group of tribe where you're coming from.
Right.
You cannot exist and you cannot survive. No matter anything anybody tell you, everything in Africa is politics and tribal society.
Right.
Even as big as Lagos, as complicated as Lagos is still being.
You have to marry into the tribe.
By the tribe, the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, the Fulani, and the Edos, and the other tribes. Even when you marry, let's assume an Igbo man married to a Yoruba woman, or a Yoruba married to an Igbo woman. Even inside that home, it still play on tribal level. When they switch, you start see the master say, "Hey, you this Yoruba woman, take it easy," or you start see the Yoruba woman telling the Igbo man, "Are you Igbo man?" Even when they have problem, only that the children they born belong to their father's side.
I want to take another example real quick too.
Well, hold on, let me finish.
Wait, 1 second. Yeah.
So the children belong to like a Yoruba can marry person like Burna Boy. Burna Boy mother is a Yoruba woman, but Burna Boy is from Port Harcourt, Ijo. Ask Burna Boy if he's a Yoruba. He will say, no, I'm not Yoruba. It's my mother that's Yoruba. I'm Ijo man.
Right.
For Port Harcourt. So that's the way we exist in Africa. So
this is true.
You that is coming from United States, coming to create a neutral level, will not exist. We don't even have a foundation. Neither you assimilate. Even when you assimilate, even when let's say a tribe bring you into their set, they will still have a name they give you as a foreigner that came to meet us. Your doings inside that tribe that will create a space for your children, not even you can still become associate foreigner, but your children might be recognized as a full tribal member.
So Big Dog, this guy Drake Miller, thank you for the super chat. Drake Miller said that this man just showed why Nigeria has tribal, I guess it's a tribal conflict, Igbo versus Yoruba Fulani Hausa problems, tearing the country apart. Thank you, Drake Miller, for the super chat. Let me thank him properly, Big Dog, and then you can respond to that.
Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my.
Thank you, Drake Miller. So, Big Dog, what do you want to say to this before we go to Fulani and the other? And we have KBM here. Where did he go?
He's from United States, right? Maybe it's
Drake Miller. I'm
American.
not sure. Yeah, okay, I'm not sure.
In Africa, let's say Nigeria. In Nigeria, we have different zones: east, south, southwest, north, northwest, and all those zones. All those contain tribal people. Inside those tribes, other tribes.
So Big Dog, wait. Do you think if someone, because one time I asked to Niger this question, that someone come and try to do this talk, telling these elders about this tribal, saying they, trying to push this idea that Africans adopting their tribe, this is a problem. And he said that wouldn't be a big deal if somebody said that they would just listen. What do you think?
Look. I don't think they understand what they call tribe. When you build a house, you call your tribal man to open your house for you, right?
Right.
When you give birth, you call your tribal people for naming ceremony.
Right.
When you die, the tribal people come to bury you.
Right.
You understand? When you have problem, your tribe will come and help you to settle the problem. Only when you commit an atrocity, that means you're going to kill somebody, or you commit an atrocity by inside the tribe, that they will think you're not fit to be them and banish you.
Right.
Then when they banish you, then you become a problem. You can go to the big city, but you cannot really hold power. You cannot really hold power because when they start asking where you from, because in Nigeria there's some form you still tell.
Yes, they want to know.
They want to
know.
know.
Drake Miller said he's American, so
okay. So we live. It might be strange to them. But to us, it's not strange because this is our power. But that doesn't mean that we don't respect individual spaces. That doesn't mean we cannot intermarry. But the intermarry also have rules. The woman doesn't own the children. Because
the man is the one. The idea is like biblical. The man is the one with the seed.
When the man and the woman divorce, those children automatically belong to the man.
So like Tia, for example, you're Black Westerner. So you want to go to Africa. So you're hearing this like the rules.
Yes.
Can you assimilate to this rule? Because most Westerners they'll be like, how can the children belong to the man? Like,
well, from what I've heard, the Hebrew Israelites, I think they follow the same thing. I think that they say that the kid is always by the man.
Right.
They always say, they say that too. But I have lived in other places, and I think for somebody that's coming in, like from America or Canada or whatever, I think they have to live in foreign areas.
They have to what?
Live in like foreignized areas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best
like. What
thing.
do you mean when you say foreignized?
Well, I mean, I've been to other places, and
like in big city. Saying like
because if they try to live outside, then
even inside the big cities, even if inside the big cities, the Brazilians that came to Africa, right? They intermarry with the Yorubas. You understand? They intermarry with the Yorubas. Some of them have the Souza, but their last name is a Yoruba name. You understand? Then slowly they started mingling. That's why you can see they celebrate themselves. But if a Brazilian returnee married to a Yoruba woman, sometimes this because when you start bearing the Souza as your last name, the people started questioning, because even in the school you will go to, who are you? Where are you from? Nobody wants to say, oh, I'm a slave that returned from Brazil. No, they start having people start giving themselves Yoruba last names. You understand? Yoruba last. That's what you don't really know. In if you go to Lagos, but you still see the men still have their quarters because children belong to the men over there. So those Brazilian returnees, you can still see them there, but with a Yoruba last name they give their name might still be their Brazilian name, but they have their last name they turn to into Yoruba last name. But the women that married to a typical a Yoruba man in Lagos, their children automatically belong to those areas where their father from,
Right.
and associate themselves with. It's not just the children belong to the man. The children belong to the tribe where the man is coming from.
Yeah,
It
the
grow-
land as well.
yeah, it grow towards that tribe. Also, it's not just a photo shot, a rubber stamp. It's
Yeah.
very deep. It's very, very deep.
You know what? I totally understand what you're saying. I get it. You guys are really connected to where you come from, even physically, like earth-wise. But I think when you're born and raised in America, we have no connection to anything. So there's a difference there, you know? We're used to not having that root connection. It's normal for us. So when you're explaining these things, it doesn't make any sense to us. We're just like,
Yeah,
okay.
but that's why I'm still saying it. The Black Americans have only 10 years to 20 years if they want to come back to Africa. Because even the Miss Africans, those Africans that have missed children, right? The African American cannot come and say their story to those missed children, because those missed children also be indoctrinated into those tribes also in Africa. Just as example, what happened in Botswana. The president of Botswana, their father was one time a king. You understand me? But those guys are Botswana people. Those are the guys that a little bit clean the corruption in Botswana, that form a very good government that made Botswana to have a good government. So if you ask to ask those, because if Black America think the way they talk about mulatto in United States, in Africa they don't say mulatto, they say mason. You understand? They say mason. They don't talk about you might say Africans, but it belongs to a tribe.
Yeah, this is true. Like, yeah, even if the person is mixed, like if their mom is white, like mixed child, if the mom is white, the kid belongs to the tribe. It's not by color. He is part of that tribe. So it's by blood. It's not like all of a sudden you're gonna call that person mixed. Like, yeah, you would know like he's mixed, but maybe he's a Yoruba or Mandinka, but that's what they go by.
I want to bring up 3 points though, and then I'm gonna part.
I want to
bring up 3 points. Point number 1, from what I believe, the original Jews, like the Jews that are Israeli, you know what I mean? Those Jews, I think I'm of the opinion that they're Jewish on their mother's side.
Right. They go by mother's side.
They go by their mom's side. So for those Hebrew Israelites going by their father's side, please make it make sense. Like if you guys were really quote unquote Jews, you would go by your mom's side.
They're African Jews.
Yeah, that's point number 1. Point number 2.
African Jews.
No,
you're joking.
Also, there's Jews that have accepted Judaism.
No,
this is what I want to know. What is like all the differences? Because I don't think they're going by what I feel is that type of person.
No,
I don't agree with that.
Say one more thing.
Go ahead.
Goes to the point of like starting your own nation. Let's take the example of South Sudan. They said, you know what? We're tired of this. Break us off. We want to start our own nation.
That's true. They don't want to be part of the Arab nation.
Okay. South Sudan it didn't solve no problems. They're still infighting right now. Okay, they're still fighting amongst themselves right now. They still don't have.
No, they don't fight anymore
because of tribalism.
And then also another thing too. From what I heard, they asked to be part of the Arab League again, and then the Arab League said, "Nah, we're not having that." You know what I mean? So that's another thing. You can take that example and see that, okay, this is not just like going to be Tweedledee and Tweedledum and like coming into a place and trying to build your own nation. If another place that was from a nation broke off and tried to do it themselves, who are natives to that place, then it's not going to just be cutting cut and dry.
So how do you think this gentleman that's speaking? I want to ask him. So how do you think that would work then if these people are saying I'm this, but they're in a place where nobody else is that? Like, how does that all work?
The whole thing is, I hate to say it, and I'm just going to leave it at this. Is that in my opinion, they just want to find another place to do their degeneracy, basically their whole like Pookie Ray Ray single mom culture, which I'm pretty sure the one in the audience who was trolling is probably.
You think people would, you think people would practice that in Africa?
Brother, if white people are going to Africa to do sex tourism,
yes,
what makes you think that they wouldn't want to be?
Oh no, I've already seen some. I've done videos on that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so let's hear. I want to hear from Bro Talib, then Rashid. Bro Talib, Bro Talib, you're Pan-African, right?
Negative. Forgive my background because I'm at work. But I'll try to talk as much as I can. My phone is
so Bro Talib, what do you think about Black Americans having their own country in Africa and govern it?
Well, if they go through the process of, see the problem. My problem is that
when you say process, what would be the process?
Where the process should be established by a standard. What constitutes you to be African? What constitutes you to assimilate, to be getting to reach that requirement or qualifications that you're African? That's the thing that I'm getting out of this whole talk, and it seems kind of weird.
No, because here's the thing, bro.
Because you have Europeans that colonize, and then you have today you have Asians and Russians, and so they're Asians doing the same. But they come in and they are able to come in with ease because they have money, because they have money, financial infrastructure.
Okay, so let me ask you,
African Americans or African diasporas from other countries, like the lady who's speaking from Canada, wants to come into to Africa and try to start a new life for themselves because they found themselves.
No, she's not trying to rule here. She this is the thing. So do you think, you, Bro Talib, and others, you guys need to have your own country in Africa and govern yourself?
No, I don't need to have my own country.
No, I don't agree with that. No, I don't.
That's what I was asking you. You're going on this spill all over the place.
No, because what I'm getting, and maybe you can correct me, is it seems more like everybody has to meet a standard. And you have to have a certain amount of this and a certain amount of blood of this.
You came in. No, we're talking about the Hebrews.
What is the standard?
No, you missed the mark there. That's not what we're talking about. Bro Talib, can you turn off your music?
I'll mute my mic. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah. So we have Rashid too. Rashid, are you there?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Rashid, so you heard the audio earlier. I'm not sure, but the question is, should Black people have their own country in Africa and govern themselves? Black Americans.
First of all, Ghanaian president invite African Americans for year of return during 2019, I think.
But that was an economic thing. But all right.
Okay. Then yes, what they can have is their own like Chinatown. They can have that. Any country they go, they can have their own area. They can have.
Yes, that's a smart move. You're right. Yeah, they can have African American towns.
Yes, town.
This is true.
And they have their own culture there. They will have their own thing. That no one will say no to that. They will have. They can go to maybe Ghana.
I would even support this because you know what, I can facilitate this. In Gambia, and because that would allow me to become their chief.
Yeah, you can be
the Black American chief.
Yeah, you can build a neighborhood. You can build also kind of Los Angeles kind of or something like.
Hey, I have the space. It's on the beach. I can only if they agree to the government that I get to be the chief.
Yes, and then you can build like real estate for them, and they can come there. They can have their own thing there. And yes, that's what the Chinese they do.
Because the chief, the requirement, the chief has to have 5 wives.
Yeah, that's right. So that's they can do that, but but they cannot, like, it's not possible to have their own country because every country is already set. Gambia is Gambia, Nigeria is Nigeria already. So there is already countries there and boundaries. So there won't be a new country in any. That's impossible. But what's possible is to have their own neighborhood, their own area, like every like the when you in New York you have a Jamaican area, you have a Puerto Rican neighborhood, you have Little Italia in New York. So just some places like that they can have, and they can enjoy that, and they can, if they want, they can integrate into African society. That's another option also. They can also like learn a language, and then nowadays you can have your DNA and you can trace your mother. They can take the DNA to their mother side, so they can maybe become Yoruba or Soyinke or whatever they are originally. They can learn the language and easily assimilate.
You think so?
Yes, why not? It's possible.
Okay. Yeah, that's possible.
But the other thing that I've observed during watching their YouTube channels is that they use like a spiritual thing, like but
that guy is saying they want land, because there's like somebody's writing here in the chat. He said Bomani Temba says they cannot live under an African ruler. They cannot live under an African ruler. What do you think about that statement? You coming to Africa, but you don't want to live under African ruler.
You have to follow rules everywhere. There's a rules.
No, but he said they cannot live under an African ruler.
Then that's disrespecting and that is something that's not possible. We are now. I'm in America. I have to follow American law.
Well, see, the guy's making the declaration, but let's allow Stephen to, and I want Big Dog and you guys to chime in on that. Stephen, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from, Stephen?
Hello, Afridamus. How you doing? I'm calling from Canada.
Welcome to the show, Stephen.
Thank you.
Stephen, what do you want to, what do you think about this idea, the question that's been asked, should Black Americans, demand, their own territory to govern themselves in Africa?
Well, that idea unfortunately is too late, 60 years too late, because if that were the case, Black Americans would have done that before independence movement, because that would have been the best chance for them to have had their own country. But that didn't happen because they will say, well, they were fighting for civil rights and yada, yada, yada. I mean, for what they can do right now, I'll say assimilation would be the best thing for them. Yeah. All 54 countries, they can learn the language and all that kind of stuff. So they can learn the language, blending with the locals and all that kind of stuff. So it's just going to be, would there be cultural differences? Absolutely. Would there be cultural shock? Absolutely. So yeah, but Black Americans having their own country, especially in this 21st century, is unfortunate, is impossible, and not only possible, that would be very dangerous, because white Americans will be keeping their eye on them. Just because they're going to Africa doesn't mean that white folks won't be looking at them behind and trying to see what they're trying to do in this supposed country that they're trying to build with their own ideals.
You're right, because they might even bring too much white heat to Africa. Exactly. Because the white people will follow them.
Absolutely.
I mean, not all of them. White
if
government.
a good percentage of Black Americans should migrate to Africa, trust and believe white folks are following them. You know what that means. And African folks are not used to seeing too much white people in their midst, so that will cause some serious.
Do you think white people, most of them will care? I mean, I don't think
the government might even care, because you know how many of them are already used to like Western high standards of living. So the standard of living in Africa will ever be demoralizing for some that they will even go back.
Maybe the white government. Some of them. Because I mean, look, there's so Bro Talib, what do you think about what Stephen said? Oh, he's working for the man. Big Dog, what do you think about what Rashid said and Stephen?
Yeah, what Stephen said and Rashid. Look, even inside the 80s something, you have to understand this land was being owned by some of these tribes, right? Let's assume they take for that tribe and take for this tribe. You have to understand some of this land already been fought over by some tribes. You understand? You see, we cannot just say things. Even when the Brazilians came back, the Brazilians they actually own the area where they were in Lagos. The area was being owned by the Oba of Lagos. Only that the Oba of Lagos give them that space to settle down, right? Then he start assimilating them under his own subject as as the king of them. You understand? You understand? So they were just living there, but the king of them was still the Oba of Lagos. You understand me? If the Brazilians that came were just okay, let me be here. I want to be the chief of the. I want to be the king of the Brazilians that came back. Man, it's going to be a battle.
So Big Dog, what do you think about this idea? What I said I proposed the Gambia government, if like they have the Black American area, but then they will, somebody like me who understand Black Americans, I would have to be the chief.
Yeah, because if you know the chiefs, right? If you know the chief,
yeah,
another tribe in Gambia, they will overrun them out.
Right. So me being the chief, that would help.
You being the chief will keep the peace.
Yes.
Because you know the language, you know the tradition, the culture, how they behave. You understand? Because I think it's easy because I think in America they can just say, oh, they have a pheasant. If you cannot have it, buy it.
Okay. Well, I think I need to get the blacks on board with this
in Africa,
petition the Gambia government so we can have the Black diaspora area, and I'll be the chief.
Okay, Afridamus, check in Ghana.
Yeah.
If you check the Ghana, the man that invite them, the president of Ghana, that man speak in different tongues. You understand?
Oh, Nana, President Nana.
You can just see what he did. Yeah, you can see what he did in America. He is the one begging for money, but he was bossing the Africans to stop begging. Why was collecting?
What was that all about?
Okay, that also then see what he did to Burkina Faso. He just laid Burkina Faso down to the Americans. He sold Burkina Faso. Said, "Oh, you see, in my neighbor's side, Burkina Faso, Ghana is powerful. You can go to Burkina Faso. Say, what is going on? You understand me? Because he was looking to get more money, he sold that Burkina Faso. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is that these Black Americans that are coming to Ghana, the land you buy belongs to the chiefs. The day you will misbehave, the day you will misbehave in that area.
Big Dog got a point. He has a point there.
The day you will misbehave in that area, the indigenous will take that land away from your hand. They will take it. But because they cannot do it to the indigenous, because the indigenous will fight and die for that land.
Right.
But the day you will, okay, look at that lady that said he bought a beachfront. Afridamus, you bought a beachfront. You are from Gambia. You are from tribe in Gambia. Nobody will come and joke with your land. Your tribe will come with you, and hell will roll them. But that lady, they picked that lady's land. But what happened to the neighboring Ghana guy that was there that was helping that woman to measure that land? The guy was nowhere to be found.
All right. Awesome. Let's have. Hold on. Who's that? Was that Jude?
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk and leave. I just have some little points to make.
Go ahead, Jude.
Oh, thanks for letting me in, man. The question is, do African Americans need land in Africa? Is that the question?
Yeah, their own country.
Oh yes. If you can hear me well.
Man, what's wrong with your audio, man?
I don't know, man.
Are you like in a gutter somewhere?
No. How is it sounding like?
Man, you're sounding like you are in space, like far away.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Oh yeah, okay. I have different devices at home, so I just on a normal day choose which one to use. So what I was saying is, look, I don't know where to start, but this is the thing, right? The best time for African Americans to have gotten a country was yesterday. They failed to have a country. They did fail because during the time of segregation in America, they will have fought for independence, and instead they fought for equal right to live with the same level with the white man instead of fighting for independence. They didn't fall for it. So they felt they were gonna be treated well if they have the same right like the white man. But out of a sudden, it has been different. Now this is the thing. I have no problem African Americans going to Africa. I mean, they can if they want to, or if they want to have places in Africa. But this is the thing. Having a country on their own is not given; it is taken by force. They have the right to have a country if they want to.
Is Cameroon available? Are there available lands?
But let me finish. I'm just gonna speak for a little now because it seems like us Africans are using DNA to determine that these people are from these particular countries.
Yeah.
I have done my DNA and realized that my ancestors are in China. I don't
wait.
know
I don't know. You said you did your DNA and you have ancestors where?
Here we go.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Judah's got another one for us.
No, what is going on here? Wait, what am I?
Judah is funny.
Wait, allow him to talk, guy. I want to hear this. Judah, go ahead.
I did my DNA and it shows that my ancestors are in China. I'm not gonna get up from my comfort zone and go all the way to China and start claiming people just because my ancestors are from over there. This is the thing. We should start speaking realities instead of speaking things that don't matter. There's no way.
Wait, so Judah, you have some Chinese relation?
He's related to Fang.
Of course, man. I've done my DNA. You know, if an African,
so you're no more African then.
If an African person do a DNA and he says, yeah.
So wait, Judah, you know, wait, you know the Chinese have been coming to Africa since like late 60s, 70s when they were doing the, planting 80s. They've been coming there.
But that's what I'm saying.
We've seen few. When I went to Gambia, I've been seeing some, really mixed Chinese looking kids there too.
Yeah,
when I left,
exactly.
I didn't used to see them. So,
so
your DNA, you're part Chinese. Okay, go ahead.
But this is my point. DNA is not an acceptance criteria to.
But Sierra Leone is accepting it.
But I mean, they should go ahead and do it now. If you want to come into the slave trade and say people saw you, they have the right to, because these people have a different culture. They have grown in an environment.
Yeah.
They have grown in an environment. They want to control their own system of government. Coming to Africa to assimilate into a different culture where an African mentality is still depending on the Europeans. African Americans have grown in such a way that they believe that they have that superiority over the white man because they have lived side by side. Coming to Africa, it means when they assimilate, they can never be president in an African country. You guys are just there to take their money. They will never have no voice in an African government. They will never have no voice because even this African president do not even speak for African Americans. When they do, it's just throwing water on a dog's back. It flows back down. They don't have back.
I have.
Yeah, hold on. Let's allow KBM 254. KBM, welcome to the show here. KBM, you are an American, but different color American, but you're an African also, Kenyan by marriage. So KBM, Black Americans, what do you think about having their own country in Africa, and where would it be?
I would say it would probably be close to Cameroon for some reason, if they had their own.
That's close to Nigeria too. So Big Dog would give his blessings to that.
I don't see it happening, but if it did, I think it would be somewhere around that area.
That's good.
What I think about it, if it can happen for him, be great. But how are you going to establish it? And second of all, how are you going to run it? I mean, if you really look at Black leadership in America,
you have land in Kenya, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's say if it just so happened, hypothetically, if the president, let's say they have this brilliant idea and give an area in Kenya and say this is going to be the Black Americanville, your land happened to fall in the area, and this is supposed to belong to Black Americans, and they have a Black American chief. How would you handle that?
I wouldn't think nothing of it.
No, because they're gonna say no white man can be on the land.
Well, that would be the rule.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they would do that.
Well, I don't think all of them would do that. I think a certain group of them would do that. I mean, can't put them all in that category, but at the same time, if that's the rule, it's no skin off of me. So,
No, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it, but still, it's not going to be something that's going to bother me.
Well, if you're there first and people come all of a sudden and tell you, hey, you can't have this anymore, that's a big problem.
But based on what he's saying, it's a certain part of land that they're going to be designated for, which is going to be government lease land, by the way. Unless they become citizens, they can't have their own land.
But he just said if they come there and they see somebody who's Caucasian, they're going to be like, hell no, dude, you can't be here. So that's not going to be okay for you.
It's not going to work in Africa.
But that's not going to be all of Kenya. That's going to be a certain section. It's going to be their own little territory within Kenya.
Yeah.
There is an African there are some African dictators who are maybe could sell a land for them. There are some dictators who can do that in Africa.
But that's
not gonna work. Didn't you hear what Big Dog said here? Let me give you guys this one round question here. So Big Dog, you heard there's a Pan-African out there who's in Ghana saying they are building their own territory. But he said he doesn't want to be under an African leader.
Wow.
He doesn't want to be under African leadership. So, Big Dog, what do you say to this? He want their own area. I guess he got kicked out of Ghana, I heard.
Yeah, but Afridamus, let me tell you one thing. One thing you have to understand, and they have to understand, I understand what happened to them. Some African kings participate in those bad business. What happened is very bad and everything. But Africa also changed also. You understand? Africa also changed. You have to understand, in Nigeria, there are some missionaries that came long time, 50, 60 years ago, some of them 70 years ago, who live in part of Jos. You understand me? These are white guys that came from America and other places. Then they started living there for a very long time. Within a time, these white men started assimilating into a tribe. You understand? Then they start having children. The children now become the real tribe men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm telling you this now. It's going on.
Over time, yeah.
Okay. So the children, this it's not like they're married to a Nigerian woman for them to be into that tribe. Then these guys are businessmen, real businessmen. They in part of Jos. It's a part of Nigeria. They're like that. So even me, myself, when I see them, I say, Obo, how far? He will speak broken English to me. Then he will speak Hausa, because they speak Hausa. You understand me? The children speak, these guys speak Hausa. I swear to God there, these guys are far more powerful than even me, that is even say, I'm indigent of that place. It's not because they're also indigent. So when I said it does not take a skin color for you to be an African, but it takes you to be there and live there. Also have associate to that place. When their father died, they will bury them there. You understand me?
This is true.
So can I?
You understand me?
So can I say the?
So what I'm trying to say is this, and I'm one of these men. There are a lot of them, and we respect them as part of that tribe where they're coming from. You understand me? But they are very rich. They're doing business. They're investing a lot in Nigeria. And one of the most powerful ones was even advising the governor of Plateau State. You understand me? The people thought the guy even wanted to rule. When people started saying, then the tribe came out and said, "It's our son, and he must rule if he want to rule." You understand? Not even people that live in Nigeria that was even complaining. It was just outside people in the internet and everything. Then the tribe came and said, "It's our own son. If he want to rule, he must rule." So what I'm trying to say that Black Americans don't know much about how African people operate. They see things as against
Black and white, black and
Black
white,
and white.
white and
black
black.
and white.
African,
So can I
African,
ask a question?
African people don't see things like
Yeah,
that.
you can ask him just a sec when he. Yeah,
Not
go
him,
ahead, Tia.
everybody. I want everybody's opinion. Okay. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking about mindsets and culture here. So if you're an African American and you're coming from America, and especially if you define yourself as a Hebrew Israelite, you automatically have this, like, I don't know what the right word is, but you've clearly decided that, well, Caucasians are not your best friend. Okay. And you're saying that in Africa, they're like, hey, man, you're white. You've been here all these years. You're doing all these things. We respect you. So how is that going to work? How is that going to work?
The Africa will chase that Hebrew Israelite out.
Oh,
okay. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you, because they don't know the mentality of an African person. You understand?
Can I say something?
I would love to hear some.
Hold on, let me
more
just
people's
run for just 2
opinions. I would
seconds.
love.
So what you're seeing in Africa, African mentality is not really on racism or color. Sometimes it has something to do with behavior. If this missionary that came there, that lived there, invest there, and accept society, and so they accept them back, their children, they assimilate to a tribe. They speak Hausa. Their children are morally kind of, because they're born there, because they're born into that tribe also. So that's just the way we go in Africa. We don't say things like, oh, black and white, I hate you, you don't like me. That's always say something. Don't come with this mindset. You think
African don't have no mentality. That's just BS what you said. The only mentality that works in Africa is money. I don't know what you
So you say money talks, bullshit walks?
Yes,
Is that what?
in Africa you have money, you can go anywhere and buy anyone. You
Hold
can
on,
buy the
Kifaru,
blood,
you're Pan-African, right?
Yes.
Kifaru, so the question is, should Black Americans demand to have their own land, their own country to govern in Africa? And if so, who would they demand it from?
All right, this is a very important thing. Where I'm just gonna be as truthful as possible. African Americans, it's not possible for them to claim any land in Africa. That's not gonna work. Like, whose land are you gonna get? Who's gonna give you land? What part of what?
There's plenty of land in Cameroon.
Okay, exactly. If African Americans,
Bamaleke land is available.
Is exactly okay. I'll not take Cameroon. If African American really want that influence in Africa, what they need to do, they need to come in a large number and target a small country. Let's say like Togo. Okay, I don't know.
They won't be able to take Togo. Togo is part of ECOWAS. It's part of ECOWAS.
Bro, ECOWAS is nothing. ECOWAS is just
no. ECOWAS is something. Trust me. ECOWAS is not weak like the East African. ECOWAS is not
a community that's still trying to create one. It's just
what I'm saying. ECOWAS, right? When Gambia, the former president, refused to step down, right?
Okay.
ECOWAS came. They flew in their jets. Okay, they came with their weapons.
Okay.
To their first operation, ECOMOG, right? Ended the war in Liberia, Sierra Leone. They didn't. So ECOWAS is strong. ECOWAS is no longer needing Western backing.
Exactly.
So West Africa is a no-go.
Okay.
Of what you are saying.
I don't know. I've seen West Africans. People,
you said Togo, but I want to hear your story. You said so Togo, small country. Togo is bigger than Gambia. You know that, right?
I'm talking. Okay, I'm talking about population. Okay.
Go ahead.
They can need all they have to go. They go in bulk in a country like that. Then they use money to influence policies. I'm not trying to say take over their land. No, that's not what happen. They can go with like a lot of money in one small country and use your money to influence politicians to give them more rights than one in that country. That's the only way.
I don't think. You think that would work? It would have worked for the Lebanese. The Lebanese people give, like for example, Lebanese a lot of power, but they don't have They
But
don't have.
Lebanese have power. They're
No,
not just
no, not as not the type of power people.
Yeah.
They do have some power,
Exactly.
but they take it. But you have to remember Africans, right?
Kefero is dreaming. Kefero is dreaming.
Kefaru, remember in Africa, right? Yes, you can have money. There are certain things you can buy, but their power, where their power lies, they will not sell that. Remember that.
Well, I don't know.
Even the Lebanese, look at even the Lebanese, the Chinese, the African, these people, they sell, but there is certain point they do not go across that. They defend, they protect their power. Remember that.
I understand. The Lebanese have got the whole dynasty in the west of Africa. These people don't just.
What are you talking about?
These people don't want to involve in politics.
Kefero, you can buy the land. You can buy the land, but you don't buy the tribe. Have you ever heard about that? You can buy 100 by 100 feet. You can buy 100 by 100 feet, but you don't buy the. But you don't buy the tribe.
You just need to buy the land from the chiefs.
Kifaru,
That's all
Kifaru, I'll tell you an example, right? Kifaru, when I partly grew up in Sierra Leone, they had a lot of Lebanese there. I can assure you, the type of power people ascribe to, they do not have that. Look, when Negroes are ready, they wild out.
I've never seen it.
No, I'm telling you, I've seen it with my own eyes.
Where?
For example, in Uganda in the 70s, it happened. Idi Amin kicked out the Jews. He kicked out the Indians, even though they were born there. Hold on. In Sierra Leone, where you could say the Lebanese probably, you think they have the power, when the war ensued, they got kicked out. Like, what are you talking about? Like the Africans, yes, they will kick you out. I've seen this. Like, you will have to be gone.
Okay, maybe.
No, not maybe. This is already happened.
That's why it was saying you buy money. There's a saying you can buy the land, but you don't buy the tribe. It's a tribal land. You buy the land, but you don't buy the tribe. Because the chief,
in Africa,
you just think money cannot buy everything in Africa, my brother.
In Africa, we buy everything.
Okay, Afridamus, let me tell you something. Where I built my house in the village,
yeah,
I did build it in my village, in my clan area, right?
Right.
I went to my mother's side, where my mother is coming from. I bought it, right? I built the house there. But do you know what they still call me out to today? They still call me a guest.
Huh?
I'm a guest because my mother is from that side.
Oh, okay. Because your father is from another. Okay, I got you.
But because I did say land to buy for my father's side, I went to my mother's tribe of the village to buy a land, right? When I bought that land, I built a house there. But when they still doing their things, right? I will see sometime on festivity like this Christmas period, my mother will carry a drink on behalf of me and give it to the head of the village, right? But up to today, they call me a guest.
Yes, big dog.
They call me the son of their daughter, a guest.
Right.
I'm a guest there. And where I will misbehave in that area, they might chase me out.
Big dog. Let's just hope the land that you build your house, the Chinese people don't discover gold or silver on that land. They will buy that land from your village and your government will sell it and there's nothing you can do. I'll give you an example. There was one Holland firm that went to Uganda to one village. This was a village and this chief was very proud of his village. This is a village and they bought almost all of that village because they wanted to do a coffee
in Uganda.
In Uganda.
No, you mean they leased the land? They didn't buy it, sir.
Okay, but
they did not buy it. That man, even though he's the ruler, he doesn't have the power to sell that land. You mean lease it?
Okay, even if they lease, everyone.
Well, tell the whole story. Tell the whole story.
Let me explain. They were beating the villagers. They were what's it called? They were asked to leave the land by force. The government sent military people and they beat these people out of their tribal land. That was in their village. And they told them, all of you get out. That was your land. And that shit is going to happen in every African country if these people give money. And it's one woman from Holland who's even trying to fight for compensation for these people. In Africa, money buys everything. That's the language that Africans.
If I not say the truth, you're speaking about half truth. You understand me?
Big dog, I gave you what happened.
Oh, dog, Mussolini, that guy that is ruling came from a tribe, right? Right?
What?
The man that is ruling, he came from a tribe.
Yes.
Right? So let me just tell you. So let me just tell you how Africa operates. Let me just tell you the truth. What happened is a tribal war that happened in Rwanda. It was not like big men fighting. It was a tribal war. You understand me? They will pay back one day. Even inside the military, they have other tribes. They want to finish them out of that village. You understand me? Obuari is the president of Nigeria. Obuari to today still facing problem. You know why? The Igbos, the ethnic Igbos are giving him tough time. If Tinubu even becomes the president, he will become the worst. You understand? That's what in Nigeria, the politics is a little bit shaky because they try to balance it. What to do now? Because now is the Igbo say is their tongue. You understand me? What to do now? The South is very united in a way, but apart from this Yoruba man, so you dealing with Africa is a complicated territory. That's why they deal with this in a very respectful way, my brother. You understand me?
I know. Look,
so when I mean, no matter how dangerous you are, right? As African leader, one way of the other, you see maintain yourself. Check this guy from Congo. What happened to him? This guy Mobutu Sese Seko. What happened to him?
Bro,
Right.
okay. First of all,
you know, like Kifaru, right? I'll tell you, like in the eastern part of like Sierra Leone, they have this area called it's called Koidu district, right? That's the diamond.
Go to sleep, man.
All right. Thank you, big dog. That's Koidu district. That's the diamond district, right?
Yeah.
But those lands that these people were getting the diamonds from still, as far as I knew back in the days, it belongs to majority this tribe called the Kono people. Okay, they might not. I don't know how the royalties work, but that's their lands, the lands of their ancestors. As far as I know, even like you could lease it, but you cannot own it from them. I don't know what the rules are now, but that land, those lands belong to them. Even if like people can mine it, there's certain percentage, government regulates it, but they cannot take it from them. That as far as I know.
Okay, I think that we should not move ahead of ourselves. We need to see the ownership of land in these countries. If it states that the government owns the land in that country, if the government is the sole
Well, you
proprietor
lease
of
it.
land,
The government
so
technically
good.
owns
So if the government can lease it,
if it's
anyone
lease,
can buy from
no.
the government.
If it's freehold is different from lease.
Leasehold, yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Yes.
difference. There is like some of these tribal lands, like they just they are freehold. These people have been they've had this land for however long, for ages. Before all this European system came to play, even this was their land. They like even you look at some of these countries in Southern Africa. In Southern Africa, those were the problems they were having. But I would say for many, right, the smart thing, you buy big piece of land with groups of people, instead of saying you're gonna govern yourself.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, like I've seen what money does to this.
Yeah, money talks, bullshit works.
Tribalists and chiefs, whatever. You bring the Chinese money, they make you chief and they give you land.
But that's what creates problems though. Then you have other people. That's why they are tied up in courts, right?
Yeah, it's a court, but if someone bought the land legally and gave you money, you're just gonna keep going to court and court and court and court and court until you run out of cash and you get tired. You understand?
Okay. We have a new speaker in the house. Tia, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question.
Go
And I'm
ahead.
gonna get out of here. So, do you have any feelings about African American Hebrew Israelite men coming to, like, let's say they're your neighbor and they want to take the women around you and be polygamous with the women who live around you?
No, well, see, I'm proposing.
Afrodamus is polygamous himself, so it's
No. I'm proposing that black people come together, petition the Gambia government, have a territory, but I'll be
So
the
are you okay with
I'll be
that?
the chief. I'll be the black chief. Oh,
No, but what if they say, no, we don't want you as part of this. We're doing this just with your women and it's just us. And that's
Why
it.
why
Are you
would
okay with
Africans why would
my
Africans
women,
care
they are not
about
my women. They are not
why
my
would
women.
Okay,
why
so you're
would
okay with it?
Why would Africans care about somebody being polygamous? That's probably the most ignorant question I've ever heard somebody ask.
Well, yeah, I guess they're
Polygamy
polygamists.
was
I don't know.
invented in Africa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay, Tia, were you asking me if I would have problem with their polygamy?
okay, I guess
I'm
what
trying to
saying
be
is,
the chief. The chief gets 5
what does that
wives.
mean, the chief? That you
The
need
chief,
some too, or what?
the chief is allowed to have 5 wives.
Okay, so as long as you can have some wives too, it's okay.
Well, not as long as if I'm the chief.
No one is
Sure.
going to care. No one is even going to notice.
No,
that
I have no issue with them having their polygamy. Let them polygamy on.
Okay,
It's
if they're
legal
doing it
over there.
with the women in your society or in your city, it's fine.
That's between them and those women.
Ain't no African woman about to say nothing about polygamy unless she's westernized. Most of their mamas grew up in polygamous households. Like if an African woman, you tell her I got another wife, either she gonna tell you I'm not with that, or she gonna be like it's fine. She doesn't care as long as you taking care of her and her kids.
So Tia, let me ask you. So
and I want to ask you something too, yeah?
Okay, so Tia,
Yeah.
you want to go there? So
yes,
it sounds like you have problem with a polygamy, right?
I'm not doing any polygamy. You can forget that.
Oh, okay.
No, you ain't doing no monogamy either. Don't nobody want
yes,
your
I would.
ass.
Yes, I would.
No,
yes,
you listen. You're already past 35. You're done.
Yes,
like, your shit
I'm
is
past
done.
35.
Yeah, I
and
can tell by the way you're talking.
I am definitely not done.
You're done. You're done. Listen, after 35, relationships are just for convenience, not for love or nothing like that. So
Not
how
true.
about
no, I know that for a fact.
listen,
For you, it is.
Never
No,
mind.
for
Don't even pay
everybody
attention
past.
to what he's
you, it
saying.
is.
Why do you think the divorce rate in
For
relationships?
you, it is. We ain't
Listen,
talk
I
about
know.
the divorce
Wait,
rate
I
in
know you
Africa.
heard.
You're
Hold
talking
on.
about America.
Let me say my point. Why do you think the divorce rate is so high for people who get married after 35? Because they marry for convenience, and once it's no longer convenient, they
That's
just
the
walk
American way. That's not the African way.
away. Man, listen, I've been to Africa more times than you ever would think of going there. I
Really?
know.
I live in Africa.
I know.
I live in
when
Africa
I
and here. So what are
listen,
you talking about? I've been in Africa before you ever went there.
Listen, aside from emotional BS, the statistics show the facts.
The American
relationships that people get married after 35 are
the
way
American stat.
more likely to get divorced. And the reason why
You're
they
trying
do
to imply
that,
the American
the
stats on
reason why
Africa.
they do that.
Hold on, guys. Let him finish talking. Go ahead.
Listen, first of all, this lady's American. So for you to keep saying, "Oh, that's not the," listen, bro. The lady
I know
is
this
American.
guy is just going on and not listening.
No,
So
I'm not going on. Y'all interrupting me because y'all feeling
I want to ask
hold
you
on,
a
hold on,
question.
guys. Hold on.
Y'all interrupting because y'all feel. Listen, I said something to you.
Listen, look how he's acting. You see what I told you about Afridamus?
Listen,
You see
this
what
is
I
why
told you
I'm
about
telling
that fighting
This
spirit?
is
I
why
always
I'm
tell you
telling
about
you
the
she ain't
fighting
never gonna
spirit.
listen.
It's not good. It's not good when people talk over each other. It's not good.
Afridamus. I already told you this woman is already done. I could tell just by the way she talking. Ain't nobody gonna marry her, so she know that too. She just
knows everything about me.
Listen, I know women.
You
As
know
a man who's
women.
been married. Listen, I'm
Afridamus,
married.
why are you allowing him to do
I'm
this?
married.
Come in and ruin your
Tia, you can respond. Let's hear what his idea is.
You.
He goes to Africa. He's got a land over there. So
who else?
Yeah,
Wait,
go ahead.
let me ask a question. Who else on here been married 15 years?
Me.
Okay, you
Almost
fine, but
17 years.
Listen, bro, but you on a whole nother thing because I'm talking to a Black American and you like not in Africa. Like that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about with her. You just got emotionally drawn out, which is fine.
I'm not emotional, but you sound
I'm
emotional
talking.
right now.
Why did you interrupt?
Why does Afridamus allow it?
You're a man. Listen, you're a man.
let's go
Listen,
about.
you're a man. I'm talking to this woman. She's talking to me. You jumped into what we was talking about not an effort. Fine, bro.
And we're
But
having a discussion online.
listen,
That's what people
the guy
do.
was
Afridamus,
totally.
why are you letting him
Hold
do
on,
this?
hold
Why
on,
are you
hold
letting
on,
him do
hold
that?
on, hold on.
Lord Jesus.
Guys,
She said she was hopping out of here. She said she was leaving anyway.
No, actually, I will. Let me correct you. I told Afridamus that I was going to ask him a question before I left.
You
Okay,
said
you
you
need to
was going.
stop.
You
need
did
to
ask
calm
the
yourself.
question.
I
You
did
did ask the
not.
question.
Oh my God.
hold on,
Wait,
hold on.
I'll repeat her question back to you. Afridamus, when you guys have a problem with the Hebrew
Afridamus.
Israelites, listen, this was her question. This was her question. Afridamus, when you have a problem with the Hebrew Israelite brother, African American Hebrew Israelite men coming over there and trying to do polygamy with your women. She said she didn't ask the question. She did ask the question, and I responded to the question.
Afridamus, can you please mute his mic now, please? Because I'm
Now
about
you
to
want
speak
to.
to you.
Now she's
Can you
trying to
mute? Can
control.
you mute
Okay,
him or
hold on,
not?
hold on. But Brandon,
Mute his
She never
mic.
gonna be.
hold on.
Mute
She
his
never
mic.
gonna be married because
Mute
she trying to
his mic.
control men. Look how she's
Mute
trying to
his
control
mic.
you on your own damn show.
No,
Mute
hold
his
on.
mic.
Hold
Afridamus.
on. He's not. He's been
Is
quiet.
that in
He's not.
order?
Hold on, hold on.
Come on, brother.
So
Don't put the pressure on Afridamus.
yeah.
Let him go.
So it's okay. Go ahead, Tia. Brandon, let her speak. Go ahead.
Okay, let Afridamus. So is that how the conversation went? Is that what I said?
Okay, you're asking me question
Yeah,
about
I'm
what?
asking you. If he is correct that that's how I stated the last thing I said, then I'm going to get off. That's not what I
Like,
said.
no, let's
That's
not
not what
die
I
on that
said.
hill. Okay,
That
so
is not what I said.
Arrow, yeah, I think
so
that was the
yeah,
question. You were worried about polygamy, and
yeah,
we asked, and we said no. I think that was the question you
yeah.
about
You
to
were
ask.
asking, the polygamy question. Yeah,
And
no,
then what did I say?
I'm not worried about the Hebrew Israelites getting their polygamy on.
That was not what I said.
Okay.
So the
Damn,
point
now
I'm
she
making
in
is
denial.
this. The point. Now I'm in denial.
Tia, what do you want to
The
say? Go ahead.
point that I did have another question. That's what I said, that I was going to ask you another question and then get off. That's what I said.
Okay, go ahead.
So Afridamus, I always say to you, I'm talking to you about the fighting spirit. How pointless was that? We just wasted so much time being unproductive. What was the point? He makes American people look bad. I'm not even from America. Hello?
Yeah, okay. So
That's the
you saying,
point.
okay, so you were saying that Brandon brought the
No,
fighting
she's not an
spirit.
American citizen.
She's Canadian.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You're
Afridamus,
still in America.
Afridamus, the man. Why didn't you mute him? Why are you allowing him to do this?
Well, he's not.
why?
He's not.
Ask
Hold on,
me.
guys. Tia,
Just
guys. Let's get on with the conversation. So Tia, okay. So what did you want to ask?
Afridamus, when the man is not on, I will come back and speak with you some other time. You have a good night.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tia.
Yeah. Bye.
The fact that she thinks that somebody's losing something by her leaving shows you her level of entitlement. But anyway, the problem with these women, we don't need women like this in Africa, bro. These women will come and spread that cancerous mindset and attitude to African women. Then you're gonna have to knock their ass out. Like, these chicks are forever single. No one here these are the women men are running away from America away from America because of, to go marry women in third world countries. This lady tried to control you. Instead of going to build up her own platform where she could talk all she wanted, mute people mic, she wants to come in your typical American, and I'm just going to say America is the whole North American continent. Typical American female behavior. You built it, but she wants to come in. She ain't giving them no pussy, no mouth, no nothing, but she wants to control how things operate. And because I'm not trying to screw her because I've been married and got plenty of women. I talk to her with honesty and she can't handle that. And I didn't even want to make this about men or women. The point is, her question was stupid. Just like I would have got on here with a man and told him, if he asked a dumbass question like that, is polygamy acceptable in Africa? Afridamus, you know that was an ignorant ass question that sounded like a person who got no common sense. So I gave her equality. I went and I came at her like I've come at every man since you've known me, Afridamus. Do I not come at everybody the same exact way, man or female?
You do.
Okay, she can't handle equality, but she want to be equal. You know, and the whole point I'm
So do
making
you think
is,
the equality thing will work in Africa? Like,
hell no. She needs to get her ass knocked out, bro. Somebody would knock some sense into her ass. That's what she needs, because she's been allowed to operate like a radical for too long. Women like that, this is like, bro, I'm telling you, women are like a invasive species, bro.
But
If you
there's a
let them,
lot of them coming in this movement to Africa.
Brandon,
What do you?
don't
they're
forget
not
we
gonna
got
move
our
to
own cookies and
they're
railways
not
over there, and they may just
they're
be
not
fit for
gonna
some
move
of
to
these
Africa,
reasons.
bro. Listen, these women will never move to Africa because these women, their entire mindset, everything they do, their entire way of life is predicated on the idea of being able to call a white man to execute or mete out harsh punishment on a black man who will not allow himself to be controlled by them. They gotta have 911 where the police actually show up. They'll never go to Africa because they can't manipulate the justice system the way they do in America to arbitrarily mete out punishment on black men who will not submit to them. I'm telling you, she will never move to Africa, bro. Ever. She's talking about Hebrew Israel. Why, if she's not gonna accept polygamy, why is she even talking about polygamy? Why is she asking about polygamy? Because she wants to see is if you're gonna be a simp and co-sign the bullshit that she believes. That's all that is. And I stepped in as an African American and I checked her ass at the gate. I handled that because the only people who are going to be able to handle African American women is African American men. And you see the way I handled her ass, and she left. And guess what? The conversation became better because of it.
Hold on. So Kifaru, you were saying something?
No, I was just trying to say that Brandon, that we do have our own pokies and railways in Africa. Don't you think she might find her match in Africa? She might fall upon one pokie and railway over there. Don't you think she might be lucky to get someone that is going to accept her as the alpha? And if she's got the money, don't you think that's what most of them think or believe?
No, because look at what's happening. Even if you look at the women in Ghana and stuff, the African American went to Ghana. They go over there, they find Pookie. Then when they realize they just being used like they got used in America, they come back to America and then start bashing Africa. And Afridamus, you've seen that a lot of times. They go out there, they find Long Stroke Kwame. They think it's love because he tell them everything they want to hear. And then when they get, women can only carry the load for a short amount of time before they fall apart, right? So they don't mind paying and all that stuff for a little while as long as the dick is good. But once they get used to that long stroke, they're gonna start asking questions in mind. Why am I paying for everything, man? He don't never. And they knew the dude was broke when they met him. Now they're gonna start expecting things from someone who they knew from the beginning, he has no means to provide them the lifestyle they want. So really what they're doing is they're predators, they're predatory. They find someone who needs them, who depends on them. They support them for a while. And after a while, they just drop them like a bad habit and run back to America. They're no different from the white women who go do sex tourism in Africa. They're paying for everything for a week or two or a month while they're there. And then they drop that person like a bad habit. And when they go back, they might still mess around with the person a little bit to get their rocks off. And then they drop them like a bad habit again. Women are vicious, bro. And
Well, we've been seeing videos, actually supporting what you're saying here. But Brandon, I want to ask you this question since we're talking about land, right?
Exactly.
I don't know if you've ever seen this video of, back then Tariq Nasheed used to be a Pan-African. I mentioned that here. He went to Zimbabwe.
Tariq was never a Pan-African.
Well, he used to call himself.
Tariq was an African tourist, but he couldn't find any con artist angles out of Africa. See what I'm saying? Because he wasn't really on. He did see land scams involve you actually being in Africa, going to Africa.
He went to Zimbabwe. He was trying to get free land, while these people are, because Zimbabwe, they have heavy sanction on them, for years.
Yeah.
But he wanted free land. What do you think about the idea of some of these Negroes that go to Africa and expecting free land or one in their own country?
Well, what I'm gonna tell you about Tariq Nasheed is he's a con artist, and what people know about con artists, they don't want to invest anything in their scam really, other than their time and them talking good, right? So Tariq, he probably had heard about people doing land scams in Africa, but because he's a true con artist, he went out there and tried to, you know, give me free land, whatever. And when they didn't do that, he just walked away from it because he's not going to invest in his scam, because if it doesn't work out, he doesn't want to take a loss, right? That's one of the reasons why he's so mad at me, because I forced him to actually have to invest in his scam. I forced Tariq to actually have to produce a building. That's why he's now trying to get a restraining order on me and talk about he wants
How is that going?
Oh, he's gonna lose. He has no chance of winning, but he pushed back the court date from December 19th.
Did the judge approve it?
No. We were supposed to go to a hearing on December 19th. He pushes back the date from December 19th to January 6th. But up until the day before they pushed it back, Tariq hadn't produced 1 ounce of evidence. You know, you got to submit your evidence to the opposing attorney. Tariq didn't submit anything to my attorney, and so we know that he was going to go up there. I submitted my evidence. Tariq submitted nothing. We gave them our evidence to prove I'm no threat to him, and then he didn't submit anything. So when he went to court against the Mexicans, the little Indians, all Tariq did was got in the courtroom and started literally.
Wait, he took a Mexican to court too?
Yeah, trying to do a restraining order on him too.
Oh, geez.
And he lost. Tariq went in court and started crying literal tears, Afridamus.
You're joking.
No, I'm not joking. He cried physical tears, telling the judge that he's afraid of this Mexican guy and he fears for his life. Go ahead.
So, sorry, Afridamus, I want to ask him some question if you permit me. I know.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're talking about land, and I know you've got the AOP land, okay? So how can you actually purchase land in Africa? Can you actually purchase like as much land as you want in Kenya?
You can purchase as much land as you want in Kenya. I've seen land for, it's not very good land, but I've seen land for as cheap as like $100 an acre. You know what I'm saying?
So like, have you ever tried to purchase land and they say, oh, this land belongs to this tribe or this village, you can't have it?
You can buy tribal land, but you just got to meet with the tribal council.
Okay.
And
that's
then they have to approve you purchasing the land. But when you purchase the land, you're still going to get a title deed. You're still going to search the title deeds, and you purchasing that land is now they can't do anything to you. If they try to take it or something, you could take them to court and the court will rule in your favor. The thing about the freehold in the freehold and the leasehold land is this. People get scared by the term leasehold, but the reality about leasehold is this. After 99 years, the lease will end and the land ownership will revert back to the original.
No, it doesn't change. They just say that because like even in Gambia is like that. But then all of a sudden gonna come like 99 years your land and be like, oh yeah,
it's gonna live for 99 years. And it can
because even you can pass it on to your children. Yeah, so they're not gonna take that land.
Yeah, let me say this. So people get scared of that term leasehold, but the reality is when you do the paperwork, if you go to the lawyer with the people you're buying the land from, there's a question on the paperwork that says, who would you like the leasehold to revert back to when the term of the leases ends? If they agree, you can put your name there. Like it reverts back to Brandon Tucker or his offspring. If they sign that, it will revert back to you. It won't revert back to them. You see what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. So this question, the big question we have here actually before the end of the show. So the question is, because I'm playing the interview like Dinas was interviewing this guy, and he asked him, should Black Americans, African Americans, demand to have their own state in Africa and govern themselves?
No, it'll be, if Black Americans got their own country in Africa, it'd be the poorest African country forever. Because it's not because of like an intelligence issue or lack of people who have knowledge. It's just because of a cultural issue. People don't understand how much culture plays a role in the trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't understand how much culture plays a role in the trajectory of people. We have a culture right now where we got dudes killing each other over street corners and colors and all that stuff. So let us all go to Africa. What are we going to do? All of a sudden stop being who we are? No, we're going to still be those people. We have a culture where you have people who know better, Afridamus, educated people who sit up and make excuses for degenerate behavior of people who kill each other, kill people in their own community. That's not going to stop. I'm telling you, Black America is just like any African country. It's just highly corrupt. There's a few people at the top who have money. There's
Maxine
a bunch of people,
Waters.
yeah,
And
there's a
few
bunch of
others.
people at the there's a bunch of people at the bottom who don't have shit. And the people who don't have shit, they're okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Because as long as they're able to get some, they just feel like as long as they're able to as long as no one's telling them what to do or trying to control them, they're fine with that. So
you're saying, let's say they decide fertile area somewhere around Congo, or let's say in West Africa, let's say Guinea-Bissau, right? Fertile land. They're like, okay, here, this is going to Black Americans, vast land. They have resources, but they would need to till this land, though, farmers. So you are saying it wouldn't amount to anything?
Listen, let me tell you something, Afridamus, and I want you to pay very close attention. Within 10 years, depending on the laws that they established in that land, within 10 years, white people will control 95% of that land. Because all Black people think about doing is the same way in America. They don't want no damn land. They want some money. So they will start trying to sell
they will
that
sell
land.
it to you think they will sell it to white Americans?
Afridamus. What do they do in America? When their
Sell the
grandmother
land.
dies, they sell the house. They sell the house before
gentrification.
Listen, they sell the house before grandma even get put in the ground. Black people worship white people's money. Black people worship white people's money. This is why you got NBA players, rappers. They touch millions of dollars. Within a couple of years, they're totally broke. They don't invest it. They don't go buy like property and stuff. They go and throw it all around and show people, look, I got the money. Because for us, the money is the metric, not the money for Black people is like a god, not a tool.
You're right about that. And also, like, okay, because they said they, demanding on land, but what laws would this land be governed by? What American law that people are trying to get away from, they themselves? Like, what is the law going to be?
The law would be anarchy. Everybody running around doing whatever the fuck they want to do, just like our neighborhoods look in America. No one's following the law. If someone actually tries to uphold the law in America and he's not white, they're going to gun him down. They're going to leave him in a puddle of his own blood. So why do people think Black? This is like I tell people who want to move to Africa. I say, listen, when you move to Africa, you are not suddenly going to become a unicorn and start thinking and acting and looking different. You're going to be the same person, just in a different geographical location. So if you're not doing that shit here, like me, I have several businesses in America. Therefore, I have several businesses in Africa. I'm a business-minded person. I own land, 100 acres of land, almost 100 acres of land in America. I own almost 100 acres of land in Africa. See what I'm saying? So it's like, you're just going to keep being the same.
You even have a cow. I've seen that.
Right. Yeah.
I heard you say you might barbecue it. You should get you another. Is it a female? A female?
It's a female. It's a
female.
female.
You should. You know what? You should let it go to maturity. You can, in fact, like multiply. Like like you put it with like a herd, and they can, it can create more babies.
What I was thinking of,
sex trafficking before it gets big.
Well, keep it there. Go ahead.
Hey, what I was thinking about is I have a big idea with the beef. I don't know if there's any prime beef coming out of Africa. So what I was thinking
South Africa.
Right. See, but that's one place, right?
No, there's several places too, but
Namibia.
Mm-hmm.
But if we
Those
could
are
get
international.
If we could get a prime beef business going in Africa where we feed the cows grass, grass organic.
The people in Africa just got cows are the Fulanis, but they still do like really ancient African way of keeping animals, So I think they're the ones that own the majority of cows in West Africa, but they still do like very primitive way of farming. So
they got plenty of them. It's
Brandon,
working.
Brandon, you got some Fulani in you, innit?
Yeah, my tribes
yeah.
are Balanta and Fulani.
You can link your brothers up. You can link your brothers up. Get in on this.
Guys, we're at the 3 hour mark, but I'm gonna let you guys speak. We'll allow Mad Dog to speak before we close, and I'll let you guys give your last statements. Go ahead, Mad Dog.
Look, original reason I was gonna call in is this, right? I think the idea of a mass repatriation from the West, of any group of black people from the West to the continent, is pretty much a pipe dream, if you get me.
It's a pipe dream?
It's very non-realistic.
Okay.
Wherever it be, the man going to the continent and getting land for themselves that they can be a sovereign nation of their own.
Yeah. What do you think about them requesting a sovereign nation in Africa?
Bruv, Africa got way more problems to be thinking of rather than if you think the AU or any group of African country, the ECOWAS or whatever the Eastern European
AU doesn't have any land to give though. Whose land are they gonna give?
How will you build a nation?
That's what I'm saying. That's
how
what I'm saying.
How will you build a nation when you can't even build a community? How will you build a community? Sorry.
What I was gonna say is this, right? There ain't gonna be any of that happening. Like it's quite disturbing when people think about that. When the people who be asking for this nation laws and stuff like that, they are not people who are builders, bro. You got same man building few houses in a community somewhere in some Ghanaian village and thinking they can run their own nation. You think that's how this thing works, bro? Like your country is in the Caribbean starving to death. When I say starving, I mean the economy is starving to death. And you're skipping your communities in the US and you skip your Caribbean community and then you've gone to somewhere on the continent. You've not proven any nation building skill at all.
Well, I like the idea. I like the question. I know it's a fantasy because you cannot claim you want to build a nation and then asking where you're gonna get the job. They hiring. You can you gotta create your own job.
And if you want some land, bring some money and you get the land. It's not about asking. Like whenever people were talking, when people were speaking about
hold on, man. 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second. Go ahead.
You have a group of people who brag about having $1 trillion spending power in America, right?
Consumers.
And they're begging. They want somebody to give them land.
Reparations.
When you're okay, let me ask you a question. When the African American wants the new Challenger or Charger, Dodge Hemi, do they go wait? Do they ask for it and wait patiently for someone to give it to them?
They go get it.
They go out and sign a loan with a 25% interest rate to get it, right? They do whatever it takes to get that, right?
Yep.
So when somebody tells you they want something and they really want something and they're willing to wait for someone to give it to them, that tells you that they don't really actually want that thing.
It's funny you said this. You talked about they want. So when they first announced like this pandemic, right? So there was a guy that worked for me. I had this contract. So when we first heard about it, we every places are shutting down. We're shutting down. So I gave this guy the news that was shutting down. Do you know the very day all the places are shutting down? What he was doing, he wanted to go sign a loan on a Hellcat. On a Hellcat. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, dude, every place is gonna shut down. Where are you gonna drive this to? Like, you're not gonna be working.
They even had curfews, but he doesn't care because one thing about Black Americans, if we really want something, we will get it. I've seen a guy go from being homeless to driving a new Benz because he saw a model that he liked. He went and got a job and all that and got a Benz.
I've seen that. I've seen things like that.
That's motivation. So you've got the motivation if actually you want to do it.
But what I'm telling you is, we don't really want land in Africa because if we did, we would already be over there buying it. Black people didn't touch a lot of money during the pandemic. We touched unemployment scam money. We touched PPP loan scam money. See, what we're listening to is what a minority of Black people are saying. not looking at what the majority of black people are doing, which is a more accurate reflection of what they want. But what I want to tell you is this, and this is my last point, and I'm gonna leave. I gotta go.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I will entertain the idea of Black Americans taking over a area in Africa and having a sovereign nation in Africa.
Like
if
where?
they can, wait. Look, if they can give me some proof of concept by showing me one majority black owned city in America that is actually safe, with good schools and strong communities that black people are in control
Wait.
of.
Let me see if I can. Let me think if I can give you one. Wait.
They can't. They'll say DMV. They'll say like some place in Virginia or something.
Oh, Atlanta, but you know,
no, but
it depends on some.
White people are running those places.
Oh, I
That's
know.
why there's.
That's why when they try to separate from from them, these guys were complaining, talking about white flight over there in, I think, DeKalb County?
No, listen, Afridamus, let me say this last thing. Black Americans want to go to Africa. To answer your question that you have in the title, there's no way we can take over anything in Africa as a sovereign nation, because guess what? Black men, we love to screw around. We love to find different women, bone them, and we love to make babies with women that we don't necessarily got to be married to. One generation, our bloodline is assimilated back into Africa.
Yep.
Because your kids are going to be having a tribe. They're going to have a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
See, but me, I want my bloodline to be assimilated back into Africa. I already chose the girl and everything. So let them talk.
Wait. You're gonna practice polygamy?
Exactly.
Of course I am.
You going all the way?
I'm going all the way. I've already went all the way.
What does your American wife say?
My American wife says, babe, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. I'm okay.
Hey, you got the permission.
Okay.
Hey, you do Pan-Africanism.
But the whole thing is, I mean, a lot of us on here, I mean, everybody don't talk about it, but a lot of us are already doing our thing. But the whole thing is, Black American males' objective should be to assimilate their bloodline back into Africa, where it originated from. Get this white European blood out of you. Go find you a nice girl in Africa. And even if it's just a business relationship, just be like, I just want a baby, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Would you be willing to do it? Immediately, your children will be in a tribe. They'll be initiated from jump. And then you give those children your gifts. If you feel like you have unique gifts that are beneficial, use those children. Work hard. Get those children in politics in whatever country that you go into. That's how you take power. Not this. Look at Mexicans. How did Mexicans take America without firing a single damn shot? They just used their penises. Now when you now look at the presidency. It's 5 Mexicans on stage, 3 white dudes, 5 Mexicans, and 1 black guy. That's what's going to determine the landscape of the globe going the look of the globe, or the landscape of America and every other country going forward. Who is reproducing? That's who's going to own that country, because now America is ready to. America don't even care about blacks no more. They're focused on Mexicans, because that's the population that is growing the fastest. So if you want to be relevant, if you want to control in a world that is all about democracy and majority rule, you're gonna have to get to work in the bedroom, dude, or either in the fertility clinic, and you need those numbers. Go to Africa, assimilate back in, and if you're so good, raise your children under your tutelage. And if what you think is best, your children will ascend to the upper echelon of that society. That's what I'm gonna do.
Hey, you've said it right. And Brandon, don't forget to get you some goats, because you gotta pay some dowry.
Nah, my future in-laws, they want cars, man. They don't want no damn goat.
Oh man, see, you gotta make sure you do it the traditional African way.
Man, listen, they gonna equate goats to cars, bro.
Well,
But
thank
I
you,
think
Brandon.
that's
Thank
the
you for.
future. Many
Yeah.
African Americans are getting married on the continent. It's happening like every day. I think it's a movement. I
It's a
see so
beautiful
many
thing.
weddings.
Yeah,
Mostly
the
the
part I was
women.
gonna say is
The women.
the only realistic way of a repatriation of a mass scale to the continent would be, let's say, now I believe that assimilation is the only realistic outlet to this repatriation. However, the continent needs to play its role as well. I believe that, let's say, the AU is pretty much dead, it's useless really. So I'm not really gonna say much about that.
AU is
But let's say
weak,
something like
but
that.
ECOWAS is
Yeah.
strong,
Let's say something
and
like let's say
ECOWAS is
something like
getting
an
stronger.
ECOWAS. Yeah, let's say something like an ECOWAS done a rollout, a mass rollout of like, let's call it like a, you know the way they've got the sixth region. Like a sixth region is passport and that to like accept people back into
Yeah,
the West
but you have to
African,
remember the United States
yeah.
government have to be on board with this. So many people say these
Yeah,
things
yeah,
as
yeah,
if
but
Black Americans
that's the
are
problem.
not Americans. They're gonna need the involvement of the United States
Of
government.
No,
course,
the thing is,
they
the
are
ECOWAS
Americans.
can
That's
roll it
why.
out independently. ECOWAS can roll it out
Yeah,
independently.
I
They don't
don't.
necessarily need
Man,
America. No,
government bureaucracies. Trust
they
me,
won't. They
it's
won't. They
not the
won't want it.
same.
Yeah, the USA wouldn't want it, but it is what it is. But that's the only realistic way I think they can get like
And
assimilation
also,
back
who
in the
would be the
continent, because
leader?
that's the only way it's going to work.
Who would be the
It's going
leader?
to be the nations. It's going to be the nations that roll it out. It's not necessarily a leader. Like
No,
anyone
leader
can
for
move
the black
around.
for black people that are coming.
And
Who's gonna be
them
there?
can choose anybody. They've got hella leaders in America, bro. So they
Man,
can choose anyone.
Black Americans do not have any leaders in America,
Exactly.
and black people say we don't need no leaders.
And
So
look,
black people don't want other black people to tell them what to
Well,
do.
you forgot
Black people
Al
want white
and
Sharpton.
look,
people to tell them what to do.
you
What
don't
about Al
necessarily
Sharpton?
need a leader.
No, Al Sharpton. Oh well, he fell from glory, I guess.
But you don't necessarily need a leader though. Like if you apply for citizenship to a certain country, they're gonna
Black
look after that process. And when you get your ECOWAS passport, you can move around. If you get
look, let me
that's
say
pretty
this.
much what can happen.
Black people are on the internet saying that they want men whose faces they've never even been seen to lead their community. I've heard black people saying Jason Black could be the president. He can lead Black America. No one even seen this guy. So black people are leadership adverse. That's why our leaders end up selling us out and just going for the money, because they understand once you tell them something they don't want to hear, they're going to start rebelling against you. You know what I'm saying? They're
And the reason I say
people.
And the reason I say assimilation by that way is going to be the best case, because it's this, right? Because if you look at a lot of these arguments where man are talking about they want to get their own land on the continent, these are people who they need. The problem is, regardless of whose land is being bought or taken over, who's going to buy that land? Who's going to afford them the money? These people are relying on the same USA government, and let's imagine the USA government run that. Let's imagine the USA government run that for them. Now, what's going to happen when these laws come into the continent with that land that they got? And the USA with money comes influence. Do you get me? So that's one problem that Africans have to consider as well. If the USA is buying that land for this man, they're stamping their influence on the continent even more.
You know who my leader is? My leader is William Ruto, the president of the country where I own my land. That's my leader. Our leaders are African leaders. Period. Black people need to stop being so damn arrogant. I have no problem with an African male being a leader over me. We're all Africans.
He's not going to renounce his American citizenship. Africans have got dual nationality. So why do you want him to renounce?
Yeah, why do I have to renounce my American citizenship? Nobody else has to.
There's one comment say you need to renounce your US.
You know why
the countries allow some of because Gambia allows dual citizenship. I have dual citizenship.
Let me answer this for you. You know why black people say that you need to renounce your citizenship? Because black people can't even imagine a black person who doesn't want to be under the white man's control. So if you try to lead a plantation, they're like, nah, take them shoes off that the white man gave you. Take them clothes off the white man gave you. If we're owed reparations and the white man never paid us that, we should be able to keep our passport. He owes us still. How can we claim our reparations with no passport? That's our ticket proving that we are owed reparations. So any black person who would tell a black person who wants to go to Africa, you need to renounce your citizenship. They're ignorant and they're a traitor to their race, and they don't really believe reparations or reparative justice. They're just saying that because it's the trendy thing to say right now.
Does Kenya allow dual nationality, Brandon?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Hold on, let me read this real quick. Ja Nazola said, as an African American, I support assimilation over, I guess he was saying, Gambian chief. Because you see, I was saying that I can be the African Americans chief in Gambia if we propose it to the government, give their own territory. Brandon, that can be a bad idea because I understand the culture there and here. I don't think that would be a bad thing.
Man, Dynas is a chief. Dynas is a chief in Africa. You could be a chief. You could be whatever you want to be.
Thank you.
That stuff.
No, but I'm saying, do you think they would listen to me though? They would take the instructions.
Listen, it don't matter if they'll listen or not. If you got the power, guess what? You're gonna have the means to enforce the power. So they have to listen to you. Black
Afridamus,
people
they don't want to listen to you, but that's not what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is take the white man's money, go to the continent, and buy some land with the help of the American government that they complain about. Because
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there is everything wrong with that. If you think there's nothing wrong with that, you're not thinking deep, bro.
They work.
Because well, hang on, let me say this. If you think that America is not going to approach the continent, if they buy land for any mass amount of black Western settlers on the continent, if you think they're not going to try to use that as a way to gain even more influence on the continent, then you're dead wrong.
Well, maybe I didn't understand you. When you say using the white man money, you mean like white man giving them free handout or their hard-earned money that in America?
No, not free handout. That's what they want. Look, even with Malcolm, as much as I respect Malcolm X, that was part of his message as well, that America needs to start a nation land for them. Do you get me? So you don't necessarily, do you want to separate from that country, or do you just want to be a boss on your own country, however funded by the American government? Do you get what I'm saying?
What you have to understand is America already owns land in Africa. If America wanted African land, they could buy as much as they want.
They got plenty.
but that's what I'm saying. They shouldn't get more. That's what I'm saying. As simple as that.
Man, didn't you see them meeting with the African leaders? What are you talking about? But guys, let's close it. Let's do our closing statements here. KBM, go ahead, KBM.
Thank you very much for having me on the panel, and to everybody, just to let you know, I am a Caucasian, if you didn't know from the beginning, and I've been married for almost 17 years, and I'm not having any issues over in Africa, and it's not just because of the color of my skin, but it's because I assimilated into the culture, plain and simple. Thank you.
Thank you, KBM. All right. Go ahead, Mad Dog.
Yeah. Look, ain't too much to say to close out, yeah? Just want to let you lot know. Man, I've got land on the continent, innit? I've got land, bruv. I got land with the potential of crude oil underneath the soil out in the Niger Delta, bruv. It's a creek land. However,
is it in the Delta?
Of course, bruv. You never know. There might be some oil. You lot might be sitting under some oil, bruv. If you lot need some land, you lot let man know, innit? Do you get me? I got land to sell, bruv. Big land, enough to build a nation, bruv. Do you get me? It's gonna be a creek land, but look at what your brothers are doing out in the Gambia. Them man are building on swamps, so it is possible, fam.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mad Dog. Thank you. All right, now we have Brandon. Go ahead. Pan-Africanism strikes back.
Hey, the whole thing is, man, the world is going global. People are able to move. Pretty soon there's going to be a world passport where people can go in and out of different countries as much as they want to. You can already see that by what's going on in the United States with what is pretty much an open border. Where at this point, anybody can get into America. We should be bringing Africans from Africa to the Mexican border, funding their trips, or either going over there and getting whatever we could do so we could bring some more black people here, because the world is going global, period, whether we like it or not. So rather than sitting up trying to do what black people do best, which is divide ourselves along stupid partisan lines that don't even make sense, we need to be figuring out the common goals and common interests that we share, and getting together and working together to achieve those goals. You gotta block out the noise. A lot of these people talking, they really, like that lady who was on here, TR, these people are ignorant. These people don't really understand how the world really works. So when I come and talk, I'm talking to you based on reality, based on the way the world is going, what I see work, what's proven. What do I see? Hispanics are taking over America. How did they do that? Procreation, having babies, having kids. They came here not even speaking English. Now their kids are doctors, lawyers. I told you, Afridamus,
Right.
I went to the emergency room about a year ago. My doctor in the emergency room was a Hispanic man. He was 24 years old. Both his parents were immigrants who didn't even speak English. Go to California, go into any court in California. Majority of the lawyers are Hispanics. These
They
people,
have restaurants, businesses, all kinds.
their fathers were swinging hammers. Their mothers were cleaning people's houses. Now they're moving up. But you know why? Because those Mexicans, he might have swung a hammer, but guess what he was doing? He was making babies. She might have been cleaning houses, but guess what she was doing? She was making babies because they knew that their babies would go and pursue bigger goals than they pursue. And we have to do that, not only in America, but in Africa and everywhere else. So we just need to get in there. I love the movement where these men in America are leaving America to go get women in Africa and third world countries, all that stuff, because now we're branching out and we're spreading the seed. When you spread the seed, guess what? Your children, if you are involved with their life, they're going to come up thinking and acting like you or how you train them to act. That's the trick.
Man, you're making the queens upset, but hey, I guess that's what it is. All the black queens are gonna be upset at this.
Hey, tell them to go argue with their Ankoli.
All right, thank you, Brandon, for coming. All right, we have Kifaru. Kifaru, closing statement. Kifaru.
Yeah, brother. We are Pan-Africanists, and we are always happy to see our brothers repatriating back on the continent. The house is always open for them as long as they organize themselves. They can come in any African country and demand land. Land will be allocated.
And wait, you said they can demand land?
They can buy. Let me use the word.
Not
buy.
okay. Not okay.
Okay. They can buy land. They can buy land in any African country, and I don't think they're going to be rejected. So they're welcome. But trying to own your own country in Africa, I don't see how that is possible, because you would need to cut someone else's country to have your own country, and African countries are already defined borders and boundaries, so that is going to be a complex one. Just come.
Yeah, and Kifaru, what days do you stream?
I'm busy, so I stream mostly on the weekend. I'm trying to do it once a week.
Okay,
once a week. But
that's a good start. You keep what?
Yeah, the Pan-African Alliance. So it's just about Pan-African Alliance. I want to keep it there. We start to go down on the continent talking to people, but it's just very specific.
I like the idea, but I have learned some new stuff about Paul Biya. I'm beginning to like the guy. I've gathered information. I'm gonna do a show about Paul Biya. Paul Biya is actually a formidable leader.
Let me tell you one thing you didn't know about him. In the recent meeting they went to in America, he was asking his translators to explain to him what other people sitting in the conference hall. He had no clue. He was asking those are African presidents. Who are these other people?
You're lying.
Actually, it's true. He was asking, what are these other people sitting here? He has no clue. He's done.
Look, he's smarter than that. He's smarter than that.
Yeah. So this is the thing now. We are politicians now. In my little channel, we believe we have to groom our own politicians. If we're complaining, we know they're doing something wrong, but who do we expect them to change? We're the ones. If we don't change, they'll keep on signing this in America, in China and things like that. They have no clue. So we can just complain, but if we don't make the effort to be these people, then
so you're saying no Black American separate country in Africa?
Well, it's impossible. It's impossible. They just need to integrate in any African country they want, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, Kifaru. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you. That was Kifaru. Check him out, guys. That's bringing us to the end of this wonderful program here. I know we touched on a lot of different topics. I even presented earlier. If you missed the beginning, go back and watch. The Jamaican woman also in America, she was speaking to Jamaicans, but applies to any, black immigrant in America, where people say they want to come to America for the American dream. It's available. The American dream is here, but she's right. You are going to work hard. You are going to work super hard, okay? It doesn't matter if it's cold, hot, whatever. Like right now, it's freezing out there. You see, that's why I'm dressed in my, like it's winter. I don't want to say like winter. It's super cold, super duper cold. So as you can see towards the end of the conversation, many of the people, on the panel or even in the chat have come to this conclusion that no, not only is it not a good idea for Black Americans to have demand to have their own country in Africa, they said it's not even possible. Many are speaking about assimilation. I agree with, assimilation. I think that's the smarter way to move, especially if you're saying you want to reintegrate yourself back to your ancestral land. So I think that would be the best way to do it. But let me thank, Ja Nzola, even though he's trying to say, I can't be the chief. So I'll give him a thank you here. It won't be the golden thank you, but it's still a thank you. Yes, that was for Ja Nzola. Ja Nzola, you still rock. But no, I wasn't saying it in a condescending way. I don't know if that's how it was received, but truly, it would be an honor for me to be the Black people's chief over there. The Black chief. Imagine that. Afridamus, the Black chief. It would work just fine. All the communications, getting along with the people there, and all this crazy shenanigans, like people bring in their fantasy. You cannot just allow just anybody who thinks they can wear costumes to come and act like they are representing you. You have to speak against it. So I want to thank all of you for coming to the channel again. As you know, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Have more shows coming. Like I told you guys, there's been a question about the Moroccan identity because of the World Cup, right? And also there's a video. This video was done on a channel, big channel, African experience versus Black American experience. I want to bring that also so you guys can see it. Let me see. John Nzola said, love you, brother Gambia. Thank you, John Nzola. Thank you very much for that. But, I'm going to take you guys back to Gambia before we leave. And I hope you enjoy the Gambian hospitality here. I'm out.